Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 51.5 of the Strip Poker Night at the Inventory podcast. I'm your host, Spnanon. I like Maya. That was my input. Here with me, returned from the dead, is CorkyTheCactus. Go ahead and say hi. He died last time. Now he's back. We used the Dragon Balls to revive him.
It's an incredible thing when you work on a demon princess from hell. Like, you can get some nice favors when you die. So, something to keep in mind.
He checked into the Has-Been Hotel. He got revived. he got redeemed and brought back to the living world with a new soul. And
oh, yeah. You betcha.
Oh,
and he brought Charlie along with him.
Sure did.
He doesn't have to introduce her anymore. She's just in the game. You can
you can go play her, and I don't have to explain.
He just tell you to go play her.
Go
if
play
you were getting
her.
sick of that spiel every episode.
Nitpick the hell out of her art, please.
I already did that.
Yeah, you did, and I appreciate it.
I'm gonna do it again.
Yeah.
I'll fucking do it again.
I'm considering. Let me know if you guys think this is unnecessary. But if we don't get too sidetracked and we get to Charlie, I would almost want to leave the room so you guys can be completely candid. I don't want you guys to sugarcoat stuff.
You can. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it just because you're listening.
Okay.
I know you can take it. You can take your licks like a man.
I want you guys to feel free to say anything. I don't care if you think she's a piece of shit.
I don't think she's a piece of shit. If I thought she was a piece of shit, I'd tell you that.
Great. I'm glad.
Anyway, speaking of religious figures, here we have Tim Tebow, returning guest.
Hey, I'm glad to be back.
Would you like to reintroduce who you made real quick? I mean, it is relevant because Twisted Fate has now made it to the main game.
I guess I'll go over my whole spiel again. So my name's Buddytibo 2. I was the author and writer for Twisted Fate, who just recently finally hit the main game. Excitement there. And then I also helped guide the amazing writers for Lux down the path of greatness, which also hit main game the exact same day as Twisted Fate, which that was convenient as all hell that we got both League characters to main game the same day.
You're just fully repping League of Legends over here. You're filling all the lanes.
Actually, no, I'm filling mid twice. And I guess
really don't know the difference.
I guess I'm also a one of a kind somewhat now, according to Solly, because they say I'm the only person to go up 2 ranks on the dev server in one day, because I went from making a character to made 2 characters in a split second almost.
Yeah. You should be proud of that, dude. And they're 2 really good characters, too. They're not just,
I feel bad taking credit for the first, for Lux.
I've been sitting at 4 for 3 years, or 2 years, I guess.
For upcoming characters, surprisingly, neither of the characters I mentioned last episode are what I'm working on now. I'm working on a character from Skullgirls named Misfortune, which, best way to describe her, let me think, not really stupid, but she's a bit ditzy, high energy, kind of choke slinging type of character. Very over the top. She
detaches her body parts, by the way.
Yeah, I was gonna get to that for sure. Her limb. There's
Have you thought maybe to mention that first?
Well, I was getting there. It's not important. But yeah, her limb can detach at I think 12 different parts. I don't know. I've never bothered to actually count. But she detaches. She detaches a lot. That's all that matters.
We need to know exactly how many.
Let me see. Probably about probably actually 12. I think that was right. No joke.
She seems cool though.
Yeah, she's a very like I said, joke slinger, casual but over the top at the same time. She isn't too. She's lazy, but in an energetic way. That makes no sense, I know. But when it comes to actual effort and work, she's not going to bother. But she's high energy.
Will this make 3 characters whose bodies just are tenuously attached to each other? For themselves, I guess.
But hers is for a different. Hers is different than hers is different than the Zombieland girls because they're zombies. Oh. She's a weird in between. Basically, she was part of she was in some heist, I believe. It's been a while since I've read the lore. I got to get back into it because I haven't played Skullgirls in a while. But she was in a heist. She got cornered. I believe she was about to be killed, but she swallowed the life gem, which...
The wife gem?
Yeah, it's called the life gem.
Oh, I think you said wife gem with a W.
No, life gem.
And then just turned her into a waifu, and now you're putting her in SPNatI.
Yeah, like here, I can actually properly get it here real quick. Last surviving member of the Fishbone Gang, band of Dragonian thieves. Last mission ended in tragedy. Basically, they were trying to steal the life gem from someone named Lorenzo. They were all murdered, but misfortune swallowed the life gem, managing to digest it, and basically her body's immortal now. So even after being dismembered, she still lives on. But it's not quite the zombie, because there's no rotting flesh or anything. Her body's fine at all times.
Oh, it's fine.
What if you like... I'm going to ask the same question that I had Revi ask Saki, which is, what if you like threw her in a wood chipper?
She could probably reattach herself, to be honest. Because, I mean, she clearly has some control over her limbs. If you look in the game, like, she'll... Like, one of her punches, she just kind of, like, only leaves everything connected barely. I guess a wood chipper would break that, but, like, connects everything by, like, maybe one vein each and extends it super far and then pulls it all back. Like, she has extreme control over her body.
So she'd basically turn into Sandman if she went in a wood chipper.
Yeah, basically.
What is what is Skullgirls about anyway?
Oh, geez, dude, you're asking me that now.
Well, you didn't really explain what League of Legends was about last time.
There's no plot to the game of League of Legends, and the plot right now in the actual lore of League of Legends is very, very ever changing. Honestly, I wish I could do Skullgirls lore justice, simply because it's been at least a year since I've touched the game. No joke. I just really like the character enough that I want to... Right now I'm working on the art, so I don't really need to bother relearning the lore. And fuck, I forgot how much art in Kisuke. Like,
yeah, I've been following.
Oh my god.
You're making good progress. You'll get there.
Lies.
I'm not lying. No, you're getting there.
I'm trying to find the proper...
It's hard, like you said. It doesn't, Charlie wouldn't build in a day. This stuff takes time.
So yeah, I've seen like some nice progress you're making already.
Yeah, I found a good description of the plot for you real quick.
For like filling out her making her model look super source accurate, which is not easy with a stylized game like Skullgirls.
Yeah, for sure.
Good on you, man. I mean, clearly you've learned from Twisted Fate, and she didn't start out looking like a cave woman.
Yeah, you're right there, but also that was just an issue with making a man. That was also just an issue with making a guy in Kisuke, though. Here we go. Set in Canopy Kingdom, characters are fighting for the opportunity to control the mysterious Skull Heart, an artifact with the ability to grant wishes, albeit at a substantial cost. And basically, they go and fight the Skull Girl, which is, I believe, the last person to control the Skull Heart.
So it's Mortal Kombat?
Kind of Mortal Kombat with a bit of Dragon Ball sprinkled in it. But, okay, yeah, you become a Skull Girl if you try to use the heart with an impure soul.
All right. Well, this isn't the Skullgirls podcast. We do have to move on.
Yeah.
Corky, could you briefly reintroduce? Well, I guess you're done making Charlie, and hopefully we'll get to her, but considering how far we got last time, I don't know about that.
Well, I'm not done making her, but I know what you mean.
I know, but like, what are your
She's got a long way to go.
plans, upcoming projects, or like, what do you want to do with Charlie?
So the plan with Charlie is I want to shift around some of her generics, just according to some feedback I got from Solitaire and some other people. There's just a few things where maybe the timing is off, or maybe this isn't the sexiest thing that she could talk about, So, like, for example, I might adjust some of the lines she has, just talking about the people who work at the hotel, and move those to the any hand, and limit them so they only play like once in a game, so that she's not just talking about her pals the whole time. Other than that, I want to make some new poses. Currently targeting people right now. Once we get her to about 1,000 lines, I think we'll put her up for sponsorship. And then after that, I'm planning on...
What is she right now?
She's at like 700 something, I think. So we'll be putting her up pretty quickly, because...
I'm glad we finally convinced people to start going for sponsorship early. You might as well, considering it takes.
Well, I'm one of the people that's been advocating for it, so I figure I should practice what I preach.
Takes like 3 months to get it done anyway. Far cry from the days when you got sponsored in like, half a week.
Yeah, I'd rather just get ahead of it because, it takes time for people to test them and sponsor them. And it's going to take me time to address the flaws no matter what they are, like you said. So I just would rather start it now. Well, not right now, but like soon. And then as we continue to improve her, we can also hit the flaws at the same time. I think it's more efficient. And once that happens, the plan is to get Constance more playable and traditional and like I wouldn't say main game ready because I'm not going to put her perfectly main game ready right from the get-go, but she needs more lines to be considered like eligible for testing and not just an April Fool's character. So that'll be the next thing. That one shouldn't take too long just because I don't have to write much for Constance. Like it's all art stuff. So I don't expect it will take too long to get Constance on main roster. And once that happens, it's Asuna from Evangelion, and If I May and I are talking about doing Rise from Persona 4. But that's probably down the line because he's got another character in the works that he wants to do, and he still needs to finish Yusuke and Lucina. But I'm really excited to do that with him.
I will say Rise was like one of my favorites from Persona 4, which is the only Persona game I've played. Sadly, because I don't have consoles, and I just kind of emulated.
Oh, she's cute.
Oh, she is cute. I just kind of emulated Persona 4.
Are you ready to learn a startling fact about me?
Never touched a Persona game?
I have never touched a Persona game.
But the good news with Rise is I don't have to write her, and If I May is an excellent writer, so
agreed.
We're kind of tag teaming where I'm doing the art and he's doing the writing, and that excites me because I'm kind of sick of writing, and I definitely will be by the time Charlie and Constance are finished, so it'll be nice to just do art.
Hey, you know what my future projects are?
Is it Maya?
Yeah, you're going to make Sasuke Kiryuuin. Or not Sasuke, what? Lady Sasuke.
Oh, you're making Sasuke.
No, I'm not making Sasuke from fucking Naruto.
Oh, damn, you're getting my hopes up.
Spnanon making Sasuke.
Bro, I was ready for Spnanon writing Sasuke.
I was going to be a meme now.
That would legit be really fun.
I don't even know his last name. Sasuke Uchiha?
Make a male character, man. Do it.
I don't even know what his name is.
I don't know either. Dude, I've never touched the show, but I love the idea.
Make Sasuke.
Uchiha?
Yeah, Uchiha or something, yeah.
Uchiha.
No, I'm not fucking making Sasuke.
No, you're disappointing the fans everywhere.
So what Corky was attempting to say was Sasuke Kiryuuin. Kill, which no, I'm not making her either.
Boo!
I was just, you don't even know how to say your name and you're booing this?
Yes!
No, I'm booing the fact you're not making Sasuke.
I can like a character without knowing how to say their name.
I was just talking about it casually on the Discord about how she might be a little more my speed.
No, you mentioned her name. That means you have to make her. It's the rule.
In terms of her tone. I've mentioned a lot of names and they've never gone anywhere.
Well, it sounds like you're a rule breaker then.
Well, every time I've considered making a new character, I'm just like, would I rather climb this mountain all over again, or would I just add another couple extra stories to the Tower of Maya?
See, I'm the exact opposite. I really don't want to go back and write more Emmy. I would just rather make new characters and make Charlie, and So that's why I don't update Emmy as much as I should.
Have you bought an engagement ring for Emmy?
No.
Well, there you go.
I don't see any time where I would not update Twisted Fate somehow in the future until I'm done with SPNatI, simply because he's just very fun to write. Like it's fun being the suave but also dumbass that Twisted Fate has in his energy.
Yeah, I can see that.
He's kind of a character that you kind of don't want to give up on because he has some notable interactions. That's the thing with If I Make Misfortune is I'm not going to be able to ever stop writing for her simply because with how much she's going to need to detach and stuff, I'm going to have to respond to so much shit. Like,
I mean, the generic lines can explain it.
Yeah, true. But I've also debated making so you know how you can set multiple markers per line, right? I've debated just making just one marker that just says detach. which is just going to be applied to every pose, like every line that has a detaching pose. Just put it in the situation thing that says, if it has this somewhere, it detaches. Just target it as a bulk, please. I don't want to mark every single thing.
What now? Oh, the body parts. Oh, I see. That makes sense. Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea.
Because it's a big part of her character to just ignore. It's too big of a part to ignore, except for only like stripping pose and stuff. It kind of needs to be used in her general poses too.
Mm-hmm. Well, what you can do is you can set it to where every line she has with a detached thing increases the marker by 1.
Sure.
And then that way another developer can target like the first time it happens or the 5th time it happens or whatever they want to do. It gives them a lot of control.
Yeah, that's fair. So that's in the far future.
Order in the court. Okay.
Yeah, we should probably talk about some characters, huh?
If you remember episode 51 where we covered a whole 4 characters because this is the pace we were moving at.
Hey, but we're having fun and that's what
we're
matters.
very sociable.
Roughly half an hour until we got to the meat of the discussion. We are in episode 51.5, so named because we have our returning guest to continue the discussion. So we're going to get right back into it with the new characters. We covered, let's see, who was it? Chorus, Takatoshi, Fina. Who was the third one we covered? Let's see.
We covered Miku.
Miku, right. Hatsune Miku. So we covered those 4 who were fairly... Well, they've been on testing for a while now, and now we're moving into slightly more modern characters. Hopefully we can move a little bit faster. I guess we'll see how much we want to weigh in on each of them. So, if you didn't get enough man love last time with the Twisted Fate discussion and the Takatoshi and the Chorus, here we have, well, he's not quite the same slab of beef. We have our first ever Fire Emblem character. And what a relief to finally get some representation of this series.
It never gets old.
We have Ignatz, whatever the fuck his last name is, from Fire Emblem 3 Houses.
His last name is 3 Houses.
Ignatz 3 Houses.
Ignatz 3 Houses. And you know I'm glad to see it. I'm glad to see it. You know, this 3 Houses, one of the it's like the most best-selling Fire Emblem game ever. So it's really nice to finally get a character from the game.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we're missing something.
I think this is the first male Fire Emblem character, right? And like other than like the
not
ancient...
quite. We have Male Corrin.
Yeah, but I'm not.
We had Male Corrin.
Yeah, that doesn't count.
He was not long for this world.
That's the same as when I said the first League character because technically Lux wasn't what we have now.
Yeah.
Oh no.
We're not going back to that.
We had Male Corrin, who was for a long time kind of like the submissive bottom bitch type of male character.
I see.
He even had like a dual forfeit where like Rinka pegged him or something like that.
Wait, what? Really?
Ooh.
Yeah, it was weird.
Oh shit! I didn't know that.
Yeah, Ignatz is a lot better than Male Corrin. I can confidently say that.
Male Corrin's author was like, yeah, I didn't really like what I did with him. I'm going to fix him. And well, he hasn't been back yet. So I guess that remains to be seen.
Someday.
Here we have Ignatz, who I don't really know anything about. He seems like I don't know. He's got glasses. He's got like a little ahoge thing on his head. So I guess he's a bit of a ditz. He like paints or something. I don't know. I assume he gets bullied about his size. That's immediately what I zeroed in on.
Yeah.
Writing targets to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not wrong.
So, Tim Tebow, what do you think about Ignatz?
Oh, all right. Well, I actually played a lot of 3 Houses when it came out, and I can say Ignatz was not an expected character of mine from the game, at least this early.
Is it Ignatz or Ignatz?
It's whatever you feel like pronouncing it.
Ignatz does seem like just my like American accent, just for like
Ignatz.
Ignatz, big nuts.
Big nuts.
Oh my god.
What do you think about big nuts?
So in the game, I actually didn't get too attached to him, and surprisingly for how small I was, I never really fully thought, man, this man resonates with twink energy. But in SPNatI, they really got that. They really got the twink energy down on him, as I wrote down, unexpected twink energy. I enjoy the character, very fun. One of my favorite moments is, and I need to target it with fakes, we had a little bit of a discussion between writers that I want to do an interaction with his glasses moment. where he like drops his glasses for a whole stage or so and like decreases his AI, and he also
That's just so funny to me. That's a brilliant idea. I'm glad that
it's
they went with
great.
that.
Elma already does that, you know.
Wait, does she actually? I haven't played with her. She was a farther back character.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know she
Velma?
actually does that. Velma.
She did that as early as like 2018.
Oh, huh.
Nothing new under the SPNatI sun.
Okay. Well, I still enjoy it.
Yeah, it's
It
great.
kind of that's actually kind of a funny point that I like to, at least I don't know if I've said it a lot to other people, but I like to practice it in my writing. Like when you first write targets like a whole bunch of characters among the cast, you, especially if your character's from like a realistic setting or a setting where something about them doesn't exist, like they're a vampire or they use magic or something, your first reaction is to like, I want to say, you know, like disbelieve them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can understand where you're coming from.
Or
There.
you know, you kind of want to play that up. Like,
I'm not sure I follow.
where it's just like, magic's not real. What are you talking about? You know, kind of like resisting the crossover aspect of it. Or like, you know, what's your stand doing? That's not a real thing. What is fighting spirits? Stupid. But and that kind of works. That kind of worked easier back when there were fewer characters. Like when Hermione was really the only one using magic, except for maybe like Scarlet Witch, who was offline. So you could reasonably be like, magic's not real. Who cares? But if you react that way to every character that uses magic, one, there's a lot more of them now, so it sounds kind of samey.
Mhm.
Like if you have that same reaction to like Akko or whatever, it starts to feel like very forced, and like maybe they should just accept that magic exists for the purposes of this game. Because like what I was saying, like it's like stuff isn't really that unique about a character anymore. Pretty much everything has been done. So you might as well just kind of go along with it.
Yeah, I feel.
I
that.
think it could work for a character like Asuka.
When she's just a bitch and doesn't want to accept anything cool about anything.
Yeah, so like with Asuna, I might actually do that because I think it'd be really funny. Like Asuna is very insecure, so I plan when I make her to basically pick at something with every character. So if it's like Akko, like Asuka wants to be the star of the show. She doesn't want people thinking Akko is prettier than her. So she's going to be basically like, or not necessarily prettier, but just like she doesn't want people to think Akko's better than her. So she wants to be like the best. So she's going to be like, oh, that's just a dumb trick. Like Akko's, what is she talking about? Like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
like,
in that kind of thing, it makes sense with their personality. So like you can definitely make it work, but I think you have to have like a specific vision for it, and it has to make sense for the character.
I'm talking mostly in the context of targeting like everybody. It's going to get really old being like, that's just a trick. Every time anything magical happens, it's a trick. You just feel like Mr. Satan, just like just completely delusional about what's in front of you. Like even Revy, like recent, we're going to talk about Yuna, hopefully, if we can get to her. Probably not, but she's got like ghosts, and I don't really know where I'm going to take it just yet. But even Revy, who's in a very realistic setting for the most part, anyway, she's just like, so what's up with the fucking ghosts?
What's the fucking deal with the ghost? Huh?
What's with the haunted house shit? I don't know. It's the path of least resistance to just get to the lines you actually want to write, because you have that same exact exchange every time.
How I feel with Pokemon characters.
Yeah, like what's a Pokemon? Oh, Pokemon is this. Oh, well, I don't know what that is. We don't have those.
Yeah, which is a shame.
Like Maya has to explain a lot of the same thing over and over. It's like, OMG, you know, is a planet of all girls? How do you have babies? Which, I mean, that is the first thing you'd probably go to, but it's also like people have asked that before.
Exactly.
You know, unless you're going to put some of your own unique take on it, it's not really that interesting anymore. At least for me to write.
Yeah, like for instance, Fate's like, a planet of all babes.
Yeah. You know, do your own thing. Try to write a targeted line that like nobody else could write.
But yeah, back to Twink Ignatz.
Big nuts.
Big nuts. Yeah, my bad. But yeah, overall, I've enjoyed the character. As usual with a lot of testing characters, just needs a bit more dialogue and just a bit more flair.
He's really fun and expressive. I like him. I think he's showing promise. I played him a few different times. I played him again today. It's been a few weeks. I definitely noticed he has a little bit more to talk about. That was an issue I had with him originally, is that he just didn't seem to talk about a whole lot. Like, I think his voice has always been like pretty good and consistent. Like I see a coherent character that's working, which is good. That's the foundation you want, especially with your first character. Like, it's always good to see a new developer get that right, and I think they did. It's just now we're in that stage, testing tables, where it's like, okay, let's start getting some more interesting things to talk about. And I'm seeing good progress here. I like the poses. Like, a lot of his poses are expressive, and which is like something I always look for. That's kind of the thing. I think we're kind of having like a renaissance in with posing, is making characters more expressive. And I'm seeing some of that in Ignatz. I think some of them could use a little bit of tweaking. A few of them just look a little bit too generic. But that's kind of like a personal thing for me. I don't like poses that are too generic, because they just make your character look like they're not really like. A good way to describe it is it kind of sucks a little bit of personality out of your character, because I think a lot of personality comes through posing. And so if you're posing, like if you're taking the posing strategy of, I want this pose to be workable for a lot of very different lines, it'll make writing easier because you don't have to like stick to poses as much. But I think it kind of comes at the cost of giving your character personality. So with Ignatz, that's not necessarily a huge problem. I'm not saying that he has no character in his posing or anything. I think a lot of his posing is really good. I do think it needs like a little bit of another pass. Like, let me see if I can come up with a specific example for you. But there's a few where it's just like, I'm not really sure what he's looking at, or like it's not extremely clear what he's feeling. It's just kind of like it's just a pose, you know?
I feel like if you lack posing variety, you get into like a lot of situations where you don't have a pose for what you're trying to express.
Yeah, and you have to settle.
And you get that a lot with like some of the characters we might talk about later on, like Charlie I talked about, and like Sucrose, like where they're kind of thinking to themselves and they're concerned about something that really has nothing to do with the game, but they're like looking outward towards other people. Mm-hmm. And like the body language doesn't quite line up. Yeah, because they had like a bemused expression, but you only had it directed outward, and you need I like framing poses as either like, is this like an internal kind of thought? Is this an internal line, or is this like I'm addressing someone? Those are kind of how I like to see emotions. You need like variations on those like emotions for both of those situations. You know, is this I'm happy about something?
I'm putting a couple poses in here. None of these poses are bad, but I think a lot of them kind of have the same face. And so when you're playing with him and he's cycling through these poses, it just kind of it almost looks like he doesn't have pose variety, even though I'm looking through here and it looks like he has a good number of poses. Just a lot of them are very similar, so like you don't really notice some of them.
Eyes, I think
his eyes aren't changing very much.
Yeah.
I think like having their eyes change a lot really like sells the expression. I mean, obviously that's where you look first, is make eye contact.
Another good trick is to pose the eyebrows asymmetrically, even if it's like just a calm. I'm not saying you have to give everybody the DreamWorks face, but even if you like raise one eyebrow just a little bit more than the other one, it just makes it look more lively.
If the eyebrows are, they don't move much, if your irises don't change shape, if if you don't narrow or widen your eyes a lot, everything's just kind of look very neutral.
Yeah, I will say I didn't change the irises a lot when I do my art, but maybe that was just a mistake on my end.
I think Ignatz's head could be a little bit bigger, but I know that's already been said a million times, but I do think it could be a little bigger. He just looks like, I know he's supposed to look small, but he kind of looks scaled down, like, as a whole when he's put next to the rest of the cast. So like he could probably just be a little bit bigger in general. Just just take a look at it, play with it, see it looks good.
Use the character editor's like scaling option possibly. I did do that with Fate.
You could do that, but I do think some tweaks needs to be made to the proportions in general anyway. So like the character editor scaling is when you kind of already finished the model and you just need to like make it a little bit bigger. I wouldn't rely on that when changing proportions.
I'm not really sure what you mean.
In terms of
like
what?
His head is too small, or?
Yeah, at least when I played him in the game, his head looked too small to me. He just like in general looks too
did
small.
you play him with a bunch of 2017 characters?
I was playing with Fluttershy, Rosa, and Yuna when I last tested him. Fluttershy's head's a little bit too big, so that's kind of maybe part of it. But I do think his head could be a little bigger.
I want to say like Rosa is a little too tall. She's a little too big. Like her frame is too big. I guess if we get to Rosa.
Yeah, we'll get to Rosa.
Well, she's coming up soon, isn't she? For the sheer volume of Fire Emblem characters we've had, it is kind of surprising that we basically only had like 2 male characters from that franchise.
Especially with the wide variety.
Do we have any male Ruby characters? I don't think so. Despite how overrepresented that is as well.
Yeah. Trying to think of when I watched it. There are some good candidates, obviously, for Ruby.
No, there's no male Ruby characters.
If you were in SPNatI, let's be clear. I feel like as far as like the big franchises this game has, I want to say like Pokemon has the most equal gender divide.
Pretty sure that's actually pretty accurate, actually.
You got Guzma, you got N.
I think we only got 2 different franchises that have multiple male characters. And I think that's Pokemon and Brawl Stars.
Brawl Stars doesn't even have any female characters. As far as I'm concerned, it's just a big sausage fest that Rotom and Cool Cat play together in the bathhouse.
Cool Cat doesn't even play it with us that much.
Yeah, Cool Cat just had to help because he lost a bet. Well, not even lost a bet. He made a bet and Rotom won it.
A strange reason to make a character, but he's done a good job.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I don't have a whole lot of detailed thoughts about Big Nuts. You kind of said everything I would have said. I'd like to see where he goes from here. Like I just haven't, like I've started targeting him, but I just haven't managed to get a whole lot of responses out of him yet. So that kind of colors my perception of a character. And without that, he's just, I mean, I can see what he's going for. He's the little shy twink that gets obliterated. I don't know. I'm waiting to see like if he takes that in a more specific direction. Because, you know, I've started to have my girls kind of tease him about that a little bit. But we'll see. If anything, you know, at least it is something different from Fire Emblem.
Yeah, for sure.
So, a few episodes ago, maybe it was episode 50. No, I guess it would have been like more like 49 because she wasn't a masquerade character. We had Hilda from Fire Emblem 3 Houses. And just last episode, episode 51, we had Colress, a character from Pokemon Black 2 and White 2. And now, somehow we have lined up our shot. We had a character from Gen 5, and we had a female protagonist from Gen 5. And somehow we still didn't get Hilda, the actual best Pokegirl.
But we got Rosa, and Rosa's great.
I don't play Pokemon. I can't have input here.
Hilda is like the hottest of the Pokegirl main characters that everyone insists on making. She's like a tomboy. Hilda has like a big cute ponytail and she's like a tomboy.
Can definitely say I've seen more Rule 34 of Hilda.
She's got little modest bumps for a bust, and she's got like, you know, hiking boots and cute Daisy Dukes, and they're like ripped jeans like Revy has. And every time that you send out a Pokemon in Black and White, she sticks her butt out. So she got memed into having an enormous ass. And she's just a big cutie. Not that I don't like Rosa, but like how did we get 2 Gen 5 characters back to back like that and both of them missed the mark on the best one? This is ridiculous. We actually have a lot of Gen 5 characters. I mentioned this last time. We got N, we got Colress, we got Elisa. Now we got Rosa. How the fuck do we still not have fucking Hilda?
Now it's just a personal vendetta.
We even have a character named Hilda, and it's not her.
It's just a personal vendetta against you at this point.
It's just another fucking Fire Emblem character. Anyway, here's Rosa, the main female protagonist from Pokemon Black 2 and White 2, who exists to taunt me.
I guess I'm up here.
She's got Princess Leia hair donuts.
Oh, geez, you're right.
She has a skirt and leggings. Don't ask me how that works.
It's like a squirt. It's a squirt.
It's a squirt?
A skirt.
Squirt.
Skirt. It's shorts and a skirt. It's a skirt.
Yeah, here's Rosa from Pokemon Black 2 and White 2. She squirts. Tim Tebow, what do you think of Rosa in SPNatI?
I don't have a lot of.
I briefly describe her personality, but she's a Pokemon main character. She doesn't have one. She likes Pokemon. She is the one that nearly got fucking killed when Getsus just like, I'm gonna freeze you with icicles.
I don't have a lot of input on Rosa personally, and that kind of relates to the fact that I haven't played a lot of Pokemon. The only Pokemon I've played is actually Black and White 1, and my memory of that is very faint. I think I mentioned this when we talked about Chorus as well. I will say one thing I definitely enjoyed about her was I really liked her posing. It kind of relates back to the conversation earlier with the expressiveness. She has a lot of it in her posing. One pose that got an absolute laugh out of me, I think it was like a thinking pose of sorts.
Oh yeah, the one that's a meme.
Yeah, but like her facial expression is always moving, like that. Whether it's the mouth, whether it's the eye position, like even positioning of certain pieces are moving all the time, which I'll say that's really good for a character. That made me always like watching, thinking, what's the next one gonna look like? Honestly, though, when it comes to the dialogue, I can't really give input other than it just felt like she was there, and
that was my input for May, who was in a similar situation.
Yeah, like she just kind of was there.
They're Pokemon characters. That's kind of what they do.
Yeah, I guess when you say it was like one of the playable characters, it kind of it's understandable that would be a bit of an issue because playable characters Pokemon never really had personality, at least from what I know.
Pokemon's not known for good dialogue in any of their games.
Yeah, but so the art, I'm really liking the art's direction a lot. Like the posing's very well done. The little Leia donuts look a bit odd.
They're too small.
That could be it. And also,
if you look at reference art, they should be as big as her whole head. Or like as big as her face, at least.
Yeah, it should go like at least under the eyes. Or at least halfway down the eyes, I feel, at the bottom of it.
You got to go all in on the hair donuts. Like that's her thing. Okay. I've occasionally browsed Pokemon's or 4chan's Pokemon board, and every other thread is just like, I want to fuck Rosa's hair buns.
Oh my god.
I want to stick my dick in her buns.
The closest thing I've heard of that was Edelgard's horns.
Why am I surprised?
You shouldn't be. I've also seen threads because there's like, Rosa fans and Hilda fans war on there, and there's also people who want to fuck Hilda's ponytail.
Huh. Can never say I've had a hair fetish.
It's just a ponytail. What?
It's a very fluffy one.
People need to go outside.
Touch grass. But no, that's about all my real input, really. I don't have a lot other than great art.
Why would going outside make someone not want to fuck a ponytail?
Now
I'm asking the big questions.
Now you've got me stumped. You're asking me a question that goes past the meme. And that's as far as I think. I just make meme and go on with my life. I don't try to explain it. But yeah, that's about all I really got. I guess on to you, Corky.
All right, yeah. Hugh, don't listen to Spnanon. Rosa's great. Like, who cares about Hilda? We got Rosa, and I love her. I honestly really like Rosa. She's like, it's kind of hard to explain sometimes with characters. Like sometimes the character just kind of has it, even if you can't specifically write out exactly what you like about him. Sometimes a character just appeals to you, and that's what Rosa is to me. I just think she's charming. Like, she's not perfect. I think some of her lines could use some edits. I put some feedback reports on some of them. Yeah, sometimes she just has a little bit awkward ways of saying things. But
for the record, I don't dislike Rosa. She's a cute character design. I just how do I keep getting taunted with the prospect of Hilda?
We don't need to bring up Hilda. Hilda's a different character. Just let Rosa be Rosa. Anyway, I don't want to get too mad about it, but I just I understand. Like, I can see how somebody might play Rosa and think that she might be a little bit on the bland side, but there's some actual effort in there. She's not just talking about her clothes. She's not just talking about her cards. Like, she has things to say. And yeah, they're not like changing the world, but that's not what Rosa should be anyway. She's a Pokemon character. Like, just keep it simple, and that's what he's doing, and I like it so far. The model is just awesome for like someone who's kind of. I think Hughes, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Hughes like pretty new to the community. So like it's always really nice to see somebody come in and just start with a good model. I could nitpick it all day. Well, not all day. I could give it some nitpicks, but you know, like it's already good enough for main roster. I think the posing is really expressive. I love the posing. Again, some of the poses could be tweaked a little bit, but you know what? They're really good. So like you don't have to listen to me nitpick everything. I'm kind of crazy about details. I just have a blast playing her. She just kind of has this like, I think a lot of it is because of her posing and her model, but she just has this personality that just kind of oozes out of her. Even like if she has a line that's not saying a whole lot, it just feels right just because it's like, I just look at Rosa and I just see a character. I don't just see like I don't just see like a person. Like she feels like somebody, you know what I mean? So anyway, I like her. Keep up the good work.
You just want to fuck her hair buns.
Yeah, maybe.
Don't
judge me.
I wasn't ready for that response.
Is that the tirade you said you wanted to go on? Was how you want to fuck her hair buns?
Yeah. Well, I'm not really into hair. I just thought it'd be funny to say that. But I do really like Rosa. She's really good. Also, she has body detailing. Awesome job on it. It looks good. I like it.
In my totally unbiased take on this character, who has obviously not denied me of any sweet jean shorts pussy action, I don't think I'm not quite as complimentary as Corky. Corky's got the reputation for being so harsh, but I'm the one who really goes in when I just don't feel like it most of the time. I don't think she's main roster ready. I do think she's had a lot of effort put into her. I do think like her poses are expressive, even for just the few that you've posted here. Like they do look different from each other. That's a good thing. I will say I feel like she has a while to go, but she is getting there. I do think she is seeing improvement.
I would agree with you that she's not ready for main roster tomorrow, but I do think she could be put up for sponsorship really soon.
Well, that's what we've been telling people anyway.
Yeah.
Like her model itself, like her model isn't bad. If this was an OC, I'd say like it's okay proportions. I think it's like, but it doesn't quite match her canon proportions. She's a lot like thicker. She looks like she just has like a bigger frame overall. Like Canon Rosa, like she's kind of smaller. Legs are thinner. Her waist like sucks in a little tighter. Just like her chest is smaller.
Yeah, you got to be careful though, because if you make her too skinny, she might. Because she has to be aged up. If you make her look too skinny, she might look too young.
I'm gonna disagree with you there. I mean, first of all, Rosa's already supposed to be like 16 in the games.
Yeah, but
none of them are 10. That's a stupid anime thing.
There is a difference between 16 and 18. Like you can tell the difference. Usually,
no.
Anime I know doesn't always draw it that way, but I mean.
Personally, I disagree.
I don't think you can be too safe when aging up. Okay. I think it would be better that she look a little bit too old and thick than to look too young. You know.
Full disclosure: this is coming from the guy that made Ryuko, and my age up measures were exactly fucking nothing. Because I thought she looked fine already. Which listen,
Ryuko's different though. She already looks old.
Fucking
like enough, you know.
Rosa,
like, she doesn't look young.
The only reason Rosa looks younger than Ryuko is Ryuko has angry eyes.
Yeah,
and Rosa has. I mean, you can't change her eyes. Rosa has like very nice looking circular eyes. That's the only difference in body.
What? Come on, there's more differences than that.
I don't know. I'm personally of the opinion that unless the character is literally like 12 and she looks 12, you don't really have to age her up at all, like physically. Like girls
I don't agree with that.
Girls are basically done growing by the time they're 14, so this is basically what she's gonna look like.
Not all, no. Are you telling me 14-year-olds look the same as 18-year-olds? Come on. There's a difference.
There's not that much of a difference.
I think there is, but we'll just have to agree to disagree.
There's definitely not the difference between Canon Rosa and how she looks now. I do think that's kind of a symptom of very early on. I don't know if they're still doing this. I advised against this, but he was kind of taking the angle of like she has been aged up a lot. Like it's been a lot of years since the games. So her main thing was like she's a gym leader now.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's all she talked about, which I very much advised against because that's your headcanon. That has nothing to do with how most people who played her game are going to know what she is. All they're going to think is, no, she's not. What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, I can see that.
Like,
I kind of like the idea, though. I'm for it if you want to go that way. You just really need to knock it out of the park if you do something like that.
Generally, the way I feel is, because I've done this as a writer too, is that when you start writing a character, quickly you run into like, well, I don't really know what their opinion on this would be. I don't really know how to fill in all the blanks on this, so I'll just make up some shit. And then you start running with the shit you made up more than canon, and then by the end you have like hundreds of lines that like don't even resemble what the canon character is anymore because you've just been lost in your own head.
Oh, I'm totally guilty of this with Constance.
Yeah, so like,
but I think it makes her more interesting.
You can really quickly fall down the rabbit hole if you just patch up all the shit you don't know or don't remember with shit you made up.
Yeah.
So don't do that. Like, if you want to take an angle of like she's older now, like at least use PokeStar Studios, where she's a movie actress, because that's the thing that's actually in the games.
Oh, I didn't know about that. That'd be really cool.
That's like the main like side feature of Black 2 and White 2, kind of like contests in the older games. Like that's the big thing, is that she's like an actress. She stars in movies and she wears costumes and shit. That's
you can do a lot with that.
Yeah, like that's like, don't just make up some shit when you've got plenty to work with right there. She's like a Sentai hero and schoolgirl and, you know, superhero and magical girl and all this shit.
That's cool.
Yeah, she like dresses up in a lot of different costumes, and it's just like that's the main thing that she does that people would remember. That's different from all the other Pokegirl main characters, and that makes her unique. So you should definitely just go all in on that.
That could make some fun targets too.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see where she goes. I do think, I mean, personally, I'd just make her model look exactly like it does in the source. I'm a big proponent of like characters just look exactly like they do, or exactly like they should.
I really like the personality that Hugh is kind of. Every artist has their own style with the models they make in Kisuke, and I think Hugh's Kisuke style really fits well with Rosa, at least in my opinion. So you know that I'm really excited to see where she's going. I'm definitely buying in on this character.
I think the posings, you know, like I said before, is pretty expressive. I just feel like the model, it's like, you know, it kind of looks like her, but not really. So all I see are the things that make her slightly different, which is very distracting to me. Because, you know, at the end of the day, like, you know, the real one was drawn by a professional artist at Game Freak. Like, they know how to make her appealing. You don't need to mess with it. I don't know. That's my personal take. Some of her dialogue is a little bland. You know, she could talk about Pokemon some more and her own experiences. I don't think he's married to the whole gym leader thing. Since I advised him against it. That's my personal take, is go all in on the PokeStar Studios things.
That does sound like the better option, but you know, the gym leader thing can work too. It's just you just got to pick something and really run with it.
You want to go with something that someone who has played her game will play her and be like, oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, makes sense.
What the fuck are you talking about? So yeah, that's my main thing. I mean, she is very, like, in terms of general tone, you know, she's happy and peppy and energetic, and you know that's what Pokegirl main characters should be. So you got that. That's what I mean. Like, I think this character's headed in the right direction. She's just not there yet. You know, if I was the Emperor of SPNatI, everyone would just be exactly as they were drawn in the first place. But All I am is just a talking head on a Discord podcast.
I thought you were one of the opponents to having Marceline with accurate dot eyes, but maybe I was wrong. Maybe that was somebody else.
No, I was all for that. She looks way fucking better now. Better than gaping eye sockets.
Okay. Well, yeah, of course, but a lot of people thought she would look better with anime eyes.
I don't know. People want the character as presented. Why would you change it?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Unless you absolutely have to change it. But
I kind of go back and forth because sometimes I do think some changes need to be made. Like, I don't even have Charlie exactly 1-to-1. It's close, but not exactly. You got to adapt the medium a little bit.
I kind of feel like she should be 1-to-1.
It's like 1 to 1.5.
I understand why that might be hard for Charlie. So we have a character that I can't mention or promote at all on 4chan because they have a rule against ponies on the non-pony board. It's Fluttershy.
That's so stupid.
I don't make the rules. In fact, I'm not sure anyone makes the rules on that site anymore.
I don't think anyone from that site should make rules, to be fair.
Ever since Moot died. Here we have Fluttershy, yet another member of what I believe is called the Main Six. Is she part of that group?
Yeah. I'm having flashbacks.
Is the main characters of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. Equestria Girls, which is like the human high school version of that.
Yeah, basically.
Which is that popular?
Yeah.
To me, that I get the same vibes as like Rugrats all grown up.
I can see it.
How can you have a pony show?
That was a good show. I don't want to get too sidetracked, but I did like. Yeah.
How can you have a Rugrats show and they're not babies? That's the whole point.
Yeah.
It's like if you had strip poker night at the inventory and you didn't have strip or poker.
It was just a night at the inventory. Nothing crazy.
It's just a night at the inventory. You just got out your sleeping bag. It's just like you're taking shelter from a hurricane. They're handing out bottles of water.
Yeah.
Buddytibo, Corky died again.
Oh no.
Corky dies in the middle.
Oh shit, not again. I was gonna talk about Fluttershy. I hope he comes back.
Why don't you give your thoughts on Fluttershy?
Yeah. I kind of have an awkward connection to this character and any of the MLP characters simply because I've mentioned it in the community server before. I used to diehard watch this show back when I was in school, and I was one of the awkward ones who wouldn't stop talking about how I watched the show.
Oh, you were a brony?
Yeah, I definitely was. And I was an annoying one at that. I will say that.
It's all right. I knew a brony in like 2011 in high school.
Yeah, it got to the point that I even made a Corky survived.
Corky did not die. Corky did not die at the end or in the middle.
Corky just had a minor coma.
Return of Corky. We thought you'd lost. We thought we had lost you again.
Hell got sick of seeing me again. They're like, "Not this dude again. Get out of here." I was like, "Okay."
But yeah, it got to the point where
we're gonna have like 10 episodes in a row that are just cut off by you leaving.
But so yeah, it got to the point where when I was in school, I even made a like an insert in our school newspaper about what is a brony. I was really awkward about it. I was really cringy about it, and I'll admit it.
Oh man.
But yeah, so I have an awkward connection to this character in the way of I appreciate it how like I
You know what, dude? It takes courage for you to admit that you went through that phase.
Oh yeah, I acknowledge it, and I try to ignore. Dude, I even printed out a fanfic on a school printer. No joke.
Oh no!
I'm sorry.
But so like I really appreciate that we got another character from it because no matter how much I try to like forget of my past with that, I appreciate the characters in the show. And Fluttershy, I didn't expect her to be as enjoyable in SPNatI as she is.
I agree with that. She was definitely a lot better than I expected her to be when I first played her.
When I picture a brony watching My Little Pony, I imagine it's like on his computer, and it's like he's like leaning back in his desk chair, and he's like eating out of a jar of mayonnaise. Like with his hands?
Oh, you got to be careful with jars around these characters.
No. Oh,
Like Winnie the Pooh. Like Winnie the Pooh eats honey, just like scooping up in his hands.
Corky, why?
Is that mental image correct?
You know what I'm talking about.
Bad memories.
You don't have to admit to anything.
It's about to be Buddy dies in the end.
Speaking of ponies and jars.
Anyways, as I was saying, for being the first, I believe this is the first main 6 model not done by Horse Cat.
Yes.
Yeah, the guy who made all the other ones.
Yeah, fits in with the rest of the models pretty well, I'd say.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah, I'd agree with that because I forgot that fact until you just said it now.
Exactly. Like I had to actually look again, and I'm like, is it Horse Cat? And then I look, and I'm like, okay, it's not. It's just really similar to the style, and that's impressive.
Yeah, I think Horse Cat was giving him tips, but I could be wrong.
I'm not sure. You never know when Horse Cat's around either. Like we had the Puyo Puyo character.
He comes and goes nowadays.
I will say, to fix the issue I've noticed, like to fix the issue I thought would have been present with Fluttershy in the game, I noticed they did tone down the like complete freak out nature that she had in the show a little bit. Not enough to take away that part of her character, but enough for her to work in SPNat, which I think was almost needed, and they did good with it because the personality and character is still there. My only real complaint, I can't even say it's a complaint because I can't give valid reason behind it. The hair both looks amazing, and every time I look at it, I see something that off-puts me, but I can't pinpoint it. Maybe it's the lack of outline on certain parts.
I feel like there's no shading on it, which I guess that makes sense for a cartoon, but
yeah,
it doesn't cast any shadows.
I think that's what the other MLP girls are like too. They don't have shading on their hair.
I was about to say, do the other main 6 characters have?
I don't think they do. I know Rainbow Dash doesn't.
Which, I mean, I guess My Little Pony is the kind of cartoon that might not get that detailed with the art.
Yeah.
No, they don't.
It's been years even for me, so I can't even properly answer that question.
I think it looks detailed enough even without shading. I mean, you could probably make it look a little bit nicer if you varied the line weights on her hair a little bit. That would probably look really nice. Instead of just making them solid, perfect straight lines, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is like the outline doesn't feel consistent. I feel like I agree there should be different line weights, but the outline I feel should be a kind of consistent weight. Like the top, the outline's
I see what you mean.
Yeah, if you look real closely there. And then also like the little part that hangs right over her one ear but doesn't cover it, not the big part, the middle, that has no outline.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it could use a better outline.
So that's my only...
That's a pretty easy thing to fix.
Yeah, just add some outline to it. It's not the worst.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I very much enjoy the character, and it brings back both good and bad memories. I'll say that much.
Get her tambourine out. Is she a musician? Because if she is, like, you should play on that more. Because musician stuff is fun.
It's a group of like girls in high school. I'm gonna guess that they form a band at some point.
That kind of sounds like something they would do. The "Let's Make a Band" episode.
The first movie was literally was it the first? No, the second movie
that's
was
a nice like stock children's cartoon plot.
The second movie was a Battle of the Bands plot. No joke.
Oh, well, there you go.
The second movie was a Battle of the Bands.
It's a good way to get songs in the movie.
Oh, there was plenty of songs in the show at all times too. You constantly could find songs throughout the show.
I would highly recommend focusing on any kind of music ability she might have. It's fun to do.
And she sang a lot to her animals. I will say that is a memory I do have.
So she's the Liza Thornberry of SPNatI?
I guess, yeah.
All right.
You made me realize I didn't notice a lot brought up of her animals, unless I just didn't get a lot of those lines. But from my memory of the show, she did have a close connection with a lot of her animals, especially, oh my god, do I remember this properly? I think her bunny was named Angel.
Oh, well, that's definitely another thing you should touch on. If that's a thing. I haven't seen the pony shows, so I have no idea.
Yeah, around Fluttershy, Angel was like, as the name implies, very kind and everything, but it also had the typical, like, wants to be a cunt at certain times.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I thought you were going to say she wanted to be a cop, which would have been just as equally shocking.
Yeah, no, Angel was an absolute cunt times the rabbit.
I can kind of,
especially to other animals. To other animals, because he got jealous when other animals.
Oh, to the animals she was mean to.
Yeah, he got jealous when she was. Angel got jealous when she wasn't like Fluttershy's main pet, I believe.
And so she was mean. Oh, so the animals were mean to her, or she was mean to the animals?
No, Angel the bunny was mean to the other animals.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying she was a cunt to her animals.
No. My bad. That was lost in translation.
That would have been a really weird twist because I wouldn't have expected her to act like that.
No, Angel the rabbit.
I see.
Could be an absolute cunt.
Fluttershy just like smacks a puppy, like get the fuck away from me.
If I remember correctly, there's an episode where like this giant bull dude like taught her how to say no, basically, and she became an absolute bitch at one point. That was a full plot actually, where she became a bitch. that was an episode of plot.
Becomes a bitch. The episode.
Is that like
that's the title?
Isn't there a South Park episode where like they teach Butters to say fuck or something?
Does Fluttershy say fuck? Is that something she does? I'm gonna look her up in the character editor and see if she says fuck.
I'm giving you at least like 100 to 1 odds.
Yeah, how much do you guys want to bet that she says fuck or not?
She does not say fuck.
I do not think she says fuck.
Well, let's find out.
But yeah, so I put most of my input out there.
I think she has I think she's got the voice down. And again, that's always the thing that you look for with somebody's first character. When I first tested her, when she originally dropped on testing, she had that problem where she didn't really talk about anything interesting. But again, there's no shame in that with your first character. I did that as much as anyone with Emmy when she was new. So I played her again today, and I'm definitely seeing a lot more. I'm just seeing more out of her, which is good. That's what you always like to see when characters are on testing. So she's heading in the right direction. We're going to keep saying that today. I do have some nitpicks for her art. I think she's a little bit top heavy. And by that, I mean like her head's a little bit too big. Her torso is a little bit too long. Her legs are too short. Kind of the standard thing that happens again with, someone making their first character. Kisuke just loves weird proportions. You kind of have to break things to make it look right.
That's what I say every time is short torso and long legs is sexy.
Yeah. A good rule of thumb, I think Metal Guitar, or maybe it was Solitaire, one of those two told me this once, and it was great advice. Like a good rule of thumb is to put their crotch like in the exact middle, or I would like to add above the middle, maybe. But you definitely want it at least halfway. And I think with Fluttershy, it's definitely below that halfway line, and that's why she looks so top heavy. And the big foofy hair doesn't help either. Like, I'm not saying change the hair, but I think if you made the head just a little bit smaller, it would probably look nicer. Let me see my notes if I have anything else.
I think it's the way Kisuke like really weirdly extends their hips. Like there's like a whole airfield between like where their waist is and like where their crotch is.
Yeah.
There really shouldn't be that much space between the two.
It's because you can't change the thigh width without also changing the hips, which is annoying.
No, I'm saying like vertically.
Fluttershy does not say fuck. She does not say fuck.
Told you.
She doesn't say shit either. But she does say, oh no, that's hello. That's not hell. I'm going to see if she says hell.
I did.
Like Maya doesn't even say fuck.
Really?
No.
Huh. She's got 40,000 lines and doesn't say fuck. Interesting.
She has 18,000 lines. Thank you.
She doesn't say hell either. Man, I don't think she swears at all.
Maya?
No, Fluttershy.
Fluttershy. Why would Fluttershy swear?
I don't know.
Think, dude.
Charlie swears and she's a princess. She's a Disney princess and she swears.
She's a demon princess.
Well, maybe Fluttershy is a demon. I don't know. I haven't seen the show.
I think Maya says fuck once or twice when she's quoting someone else.
Oh, so you're a liar then. You said she doesn't say fuck.
Not of her own accord. I didn't have well, we know the story with Revy. But I don't think Jura's really the type to swear either, except when she gets really, really angry.
Yeah.
The only character she gets angry enough to swear with, I think, is Tharja.
Revy hates it when people swear. She's such a eloquent, well-mannered person. Anyway, with Fluttershy, I think Sorry, I want to stay on track.
Apparently, Tharge is very out of character, but I did appreciate the opportunity to have Yura call her a cunt.
Oh, man. I'm sure that was very satisfying. Anyway, with Fluttershy, I really enjoyed the inner monologues that she has. I think a lot of characters get them wrong, but it was good to see Fluttershy do it well, at least in my opinion. It works better with shy characters. You know, there are some characters in this game that use it who are supposed to be confident, and I think it makes them look unconfident and uncertain, which isn't what you want with a character that you want to be like proud and strong and all that. Not that Fluttershy isn't strong, I don't really, but obviously shy is in her name. You want her to be shy. I think you're taking good advantage of that with the inner monologues, because that way she's not always talking, and you can kind of get a little bit of a sense of what she's thinking. It feels very in line with her character when what she says. It's not just explaining what she's thinking, like it's actually like personified. So you did a good job with that. I'm excited to see where she goes.
I will go fully on record as saying I hate it whenever a character uses any kind of parenthetical inner thoughts. It just seems lazy to me. I
disagree. I think if you do it well, it's better than just having them say nothing.
It's a textbook example of like show don't tell. Or, telling, not showing.
If you're doing it right, you can still show it, because basically you wouldn't want your character to think, that makes me angry. But you can have that character think like, I fucking hate this person. I can't believe he did this. And then like, oh, okay, they're angry. If you keep it in character.
With rare exception, that should just come out in their body language.
Well, you can do both.
But if you do it in the body language, then you don't need the thought.
Well, you need to have them say something, and for a character like Fluttershy, it doesn't make sense for her to be super talkative because she's shy, she's introverted.
I know. If I wrote Maya completely accurately, she would never say anything either, but you have to stretch it a little. I'd rather she say something that other characters can react to and just make it terse than have her just think it and just have it go nowhere.
Yeah.
I don't know. Feels very lazy to me. I feel like maybe there are some times where it works, but most of the time it just seems completely unnecessary.
Yeah.
Oftentimes I'll just say like, it'll just be a line like, "Whoa, don't do that." But parenthetical inner thought, but I think I kind of really want him to do that. It's like, yeah, you don't fucking need that thought. You can just show it in the goddamn post. I don't even like characters' thoughts in like books.
Mm-hmm.
Really
just show it to me.
That's a hot take.
I don't really like. I find narration kind of boring in general.
I put a bit of inner dialogue on Fate, but Fate's inner dialogue was more him analyzing like, based on their expressions, they might have a bad hand, or
Real quick, I want to touch on something really fast before we get too sidetracked, but I can't let this go. So, Spnanon, how do you show what's happening without doing either narration or character thought? Like, I think you have to do one of them. You can't just not say anything unless you have the characters explain what they see.
I don't really like reading books.
That's accurate. That's fair. That's very valid. That's a very valid reason.
Well, okay. All right, T-Bill. Please continue. Sorry for interrupting.
Oh, no, I was just saying, like, I put some inner dialogue on Fate, but that was more like his inner gambler coming out of, like, thinking, oh, well, based on those, like, hand movements or based on their just general body language, I bet they have a good hand, or they look really confident right now. They might have a good hand, stuff like that. That's the only inner dialogue I really put on him, though.
Mm-hmm. Yes, please don't tell me about your hand if you're writing a character in SPNatI.
As for my thoughts on Fluttershy, I mean, as a known brony myself, this is well established. I do think she suffers a little bit next to the other ones because she doesn't have the very detailed hand-drawn poses that the others do. Just like glancing quickly at her folder, which is a bit of a shame. I mean, it's not like her poses are bad. It's just next to the others, you can kind of tell.
She does have one animated pose when you select her where she like waves her hand, which I think is creative and cool. I don't think it really fits the pose she has because like she looks really nervous in the pose. And maybe it would work better if the waving motion she did looked more nervous. but I really don't think you need to animate that. I think the pose that she ends on at the end of the animation would be fine just on its own.
It's a start. I will say, kind of like Fina from last episode, before Corky died. I think Fluttershy is a good example of like, she's embarrassed, she's shy, but she doesn't like ruin it for everyone.
Mm-hmm. She's
not like negative about the experience. She's shy.
Yeah.
Like Nagisa is shy without being like, let's not do this, guys. I don't like being here.
Yeah.
It's perfectly valid to be shy about something that's embarrassing, but you can still, do it. Like that's all the difference you have to make.
Mm-hmm.
Is just you still want to do it and have the experience. You're just embarrassed about it.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that she represents that side of ENF. It's always going to be a big factor in this game when characters are being coerced into stripping. But
yeah.
Speaking of coercion and other $5 words, why don't we talk a little bit about a character that was once an April Fool's character and now has graduated to nearly the main roster. She's deep into sponsorship.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. It's Magma Grunt. I mean Wikipe-tan. Here she is asking for donations. Isn't she cute?
Yeah.
Wikipe-tan is a personification of Wikipedia itself, and she makes this known by frequently just reading Wikipedia articles verbatim about tangentially related topics to what's going on. She was made by your collaborator on Charlie, Spaceman.
Yeah.
I think who else did she?
I think Carbol helped with writing. Let me double check.
I'm pretty sure Carbol, yeah.
Yeah, Carbol did help with the writing.
She also got a summer outfit. That's right, in the recent summer event that we just completely missed talking about. But there really wasn't much to say. It was just characters in summer outfits. You missed it. It's over. Wait till next year. You blew it.
Her summer outfit looks better than the regular one. It looks fantastic.
It's a good use of pipelines for overlaying patterns on her shirt.
Yeah. And like the skirt too. Like they didn't half-ass that skirt. It's like actually done with ribbons. It has curves. It's not straight lines. It looks really good. It's got wrinkles in it. Good job.
Some good shit.
Using my expert Japanese language knowledge, I happen to know that puzzle piece on Wikipe-tan's maid outfit says "we."
It says "we"?
Yeah, as in Wikipedia-tan.
As in you and me?
No, as in Wikipedia.
Oh,
"We."
No, that's cool.
It's the symbol for "wa" and then the little "e." It's small, and that means instead of saying "wa," you say "we."
That's cool.
Interesting.
A little bit of Spnanon trivia.
They do that for like. They do that for like they don't have the sound T or like D or anything like that. So instead they use the symbol for like day or te, and then they add the little E next to it. And then that's T.
Well, that's neat.
Cool.
That's what I learned.
Do you like this character or do you hate this character?
That's the katakana I learned by looking up Vandred characters' names in Japanese.
No.
and also watching people speedrun video games in Japanese. What do you think about Wikipedia-tan?
I've enjoyed her. I haven't played her enough, in my opinion. The smugness, the very smug aura that emits from her, and like she is smug all the time. I love it. I love my smug characters, my smug anime women. She almost feels like a daily lessons character. Like every time you play, you're gonna find out like a little tidbit, whether it's about a series of characters from. It's just a general trivia fact, and I believe there was even talk of doing like actually a daily trivia fact, like setting one up for different days using the calendar feature in the character editor. Which, if you're actually sticking through with that, props to you. I wouldn't bother.
I would be cool.
I wouldn't bother if it was me.
She remembers characters' birthdays too.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
She introduces what series they're from.
Yeah, there's that too.
Helpful for my girls.
Yeah, and that actually relates to my next topic with her, which is she's like a perfect way to figure out some good tags in SPNatI for writers to like, for aspiring writers to be like, that's a tag maybe I could target in some way, because she targets almost every tag, I believe, in some way, sort or form.
That used to be Kazuna's claim to fame.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Wikipe-tan obviously makes good example of that.
Yeah.
Or a good use of that.
Yeah, it's a good recent example, nonetheless, for like writers to be like, because I know when I was told I needed to add more tag targets, like more filtered lines to Fate, I'm like, okay, where's a good place to start? And then now that after I looked at Wikipe-tan's work, I'm just like, wow, that would have been an amazing like kind of guide of good tags to target, and they do a good job at it.
The fact that she can like cite articles and weird information, it means you're kind of getting something interesting out of all those tags.
Yeah.
Compared to, most people might just have very superficial comments to make about them.
Yeah.
I feel like it'd be really easy to write a crap ton of lines for her, because it's just there's always new stuff to write about when you have a whole Wikipedia on your side.
Just steal everything from Wikipedia contributors.
Yeah. It's been a hot minute since I played with Wiki. I believe I sponsored her, but my memory is shit, so I could be wrong.
Let's put that to the test.
Oh no, he's bringing back out his facts and logic.
No! The big thing with Wiki, for me at least, is just seeing Spaceman's progress with the art. Like, it's just so cool how quickly and how much he improved with her. And like, now this summer outfit, it just looks fantastic. It was one of the best looking summer outfits in the game during the event. So you should be very proud of that.
Corky, you did sponsor her.
Okay, I thought so. My big things with her...
You sponsored her with Ibuki? What the fuck?
Ibuki?
Ibuki's not in the game.
Huh?
Was that like a joke about Critical Darling and how she's just Ibuki Miura?
Maybe I just thought her name was Ibuki, I don't know. I can't remember.
That's who you listed as one of the characters you played her with.
I honestly did. I told, like, my brain just shoves memories out for SpongeBob memes. That's what I remember. Anyway. Hey, there's a deer outside. There's always a deer outside out here. Anyway.
Also, holy fuck, her sponsorship post got 253 upvotes.
Yeah, it's surprising how, like...
I didn't think she was that popular.
I didn't either, but I think maybe people just find her really appealing. I don't know.
I mean, she's cute. I like her.
Yeah. My big thing with her was that some of her lines seemed too long and textbooky, and I didn't think she was erotic enough with what she talked about, like, especially later in the game. But again, it's been a hot minute since I played with her, so maybe that's all been fixed. I'm not sure yet. I'd have to test her again. But an idea, like, here's a little idea for you when writing her. Maybe this would be too fourth wall breaky. It kind of depends on what your vision is, but just a thought.
I don't think she's really against breaking the fourth wall.
I didn't think so. But we have a whole SPNatI wiki now. It'd be pretty cool if she, like, with some characters explain some behind the scenes stuff. Like, hey, like, this character was made because of this, or this character used to look like this, or something like that. It could be cool.
I want to contribute to the SPNatI wiki, but it's like, why would I write Maya's article when I could just write more lines for Maya?
You can have Maya talking about the wiki, and then you can do both.
Can we, like, force all the retired devs to work on the SPNatI wiki instead?
Hey,
can we get
make it Sucrose. Write this wiki.
Hold them at gunpoint.
From what little I've played of her, I think I did play a game with her, but again, it's been a while. I usually don't play testing characters a lot because it's either they're good and it's like, oh, well, can't wait for them to get on the main roster, or it's like, well, that was shit. Hopefully they get better, and I'll wait till they do, until I play them again. Mm-hmm. She definitely fell into the former category. I liked what I saw. I was actually pretty surprised with how, like, some of her dialogue made me chuckle. Mm-hmm. She's not, like, just quoting Wikipedia articles. She does have a personality.
She got a lot better after April Fool's, because on April Fool's she basically did just quote Wikipedia, but she's gotten a lot better.
She has funny applications for them, and she's got fun poses too, like asking for donations, and she's got a bit of an edge to her,
I do have a quick question. Was she the first April Fool's character to be adapted into a main table character, or did that happen before?
we've had main table characters adapted to April Fools. A Spaghetti Chef.
There was a character that tried to do it, but it never got finished.
It was Kokichi.
Spooky-chan was April Fools? Oh, Kokichi, yeah.
Kokichi, yeah. The wannabe Kim Jong-un.
Huh? That went over my head.
Isn't that basically what he is?
I haven't played enough of 3 to be able to answer that. I just know my friends like that character a lot.
Uh-oh. Your friends like Kim Jong-un?
No.
I mean, aren't we all obligated to?
Yeah.
I mean, he's the best golf player ever, like of all time. He hits like 70 million hole-in-ones on an 18-hole course. I don't know how he does it.
He has a score of 17 on an 18-hole.
Yeah.
The ball just burrowed to the next hole.
Exactly. He skipped a whole hole. He hit it from like hole 15 to 16.
Yeah.
And he got a hole in one still. I've done that actually, and not in actual golf, but in mini golf. I got a hole in one in the wrong fucking hole. Because I just fucking full sended. I just hit the ball as hard as possible. Good thing it fucking went in a hole and not to the car sales lot next door.
I don't think I've ever played mini golf. It didn't seem that attractive to me.
It's fun if you find the right place. There's some interesting places that got some cool gimmicks.
I don't know. There's one on a boardwalk I went to, but I'm just like, I want some cheese fries. I don't want to play mini golf. That's
fair. That's valid.
Speaking of cheese fries, I guess it's time to move on to Lucina.
What did they... Is there a relation I'm not getting?
Maybe if she eats enough of them, she'll finally get some fat on her chest.
She totally likes cheese fries. Who doesn't like cheese fries?
She went back to the past, and it's like, you used to have cheese fries?
What the hell?
Before the bad times, before the bad future? Sorry, I feel like we needed more to say about Wikipe-tan, but all I have to say is, yeah, she's pretty good. You'll sponsor her. She's basically got her foot in the door already.
I mean, I already went in depth in my sponsorship, so I don't want to retread, because a lot of the things I said have probably already been fixed.
Yeah.
You want me to just read off what you said in your sponsorship?
Oh, if you can do it in a goofy voice, go for it. Do your best Corky impression.
Wiki-tan's a fun idea. Her art is clean and sharp. She's got great potential to be a way to learn more about the characters she plays with. Fun facts and definitions, dialogue for opponents' forfeits. Her dot nose ain't working. She needs more targets.
Oh. She used to have a dot nose, but she doesn't anymore. It looks a lot better.
She used to have a dot nose like Charlie. Charlie has a very big dot nose.
I actually kind of wonder if she had the dot nose because of Charlie, because again, Spaceman did the art, and I wonder if he saw Charlie and was like, I'm going to take that now. I don't know, maybe not, but it was very similar to Charlie's
Some dialogue is a bit too long. She needs more lewd dialogue, more filtered lines. You do want, I guess you do want Wikipe-tan to be hot and heavy and in on the game, but that's almost a character that I could kind of excuse being sort of clinically detached from the whole thing.
To a point, yeah.
She's there to provide unbiased information.
I don't think it's mutually exclusive. I don't think you have to do one or the other. I think you can do what you're doing with Wiki, but still.
When she started flirting with me, it almost got kind of weird. Like, oh, I didn't expect that.
Yeah.
I feel like she should be citing statistics. Like, she could be into it, but she could be like citing statistics about like the average volume of an ejaculation.
Well, if she flirts with you, it ought to be really nerdy. Like the nerdiest flirt. Because she's an encyclopedia person. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
I want you to vandalize me and not cite any sources.
Oh no.
Vandalize me, Daddy.
Oh, Lord.
Aren't you glad you're here with us, Tibo? We're having fun.
I think it's safe to move on to Lucina.
Please make a tax-deductible donation right in my asshole.
Holy shit.
If it's not tax-deductible, it won't fit. So don't even try.
I feel like half the time with Revy, I just say, like, in someone's asshole, because that sounds funnier.
Yeah.
If I have to make some kind of joke like that.
Wikipedia-chan wouldn't say asshole. She would say rectum.
Anus.
Rectum is more clinical and scientific.
Anal cavity.
I guess the rectum is where it's actually deposited.
I can't wait to see what Solitaire edits with this.
Would you please post graphic diagrams?
Butt stuff. There's our title.
Exactly where the rectum is and how much volume of ejaculate you can deposit in it.
I wonder how much could fit in there. There is a number. There's a number of how much ejaculate you can fit into an asshole. There's a finite amount.
Well, it depends on how big your asshole is. It's like in the expanded editions of Dungeons and Dragons when you can have your anal circumference you can roll for.
Well, when would it stop? Like, if it overflowed, would it keep going up your colon, like into your stomach, or would it just not? Would it just explode at your butt?
It just does the hentai thing where you come inside the hole and somehow it just like all squelches out the sides. It's like, how much did you put in there? It's a very bad reproductive system. Just immediately all spills out.
What's Lucina's reproductive system like? Do you like it?
What? Oh, Lucina?
What about her reproductive system?
Well, I don't really believe in her ability to feed our babies, but Lucina is a character who comes from a bad future. That bad future being she spent 3 years on testing instead of only 2. She is here in the past to attempt to rectify that. She had an old-ass model that used to look like she was blind in one eye. Oh, by the way, she's a Fire Emblem character. I'm glad we have our first Fire Emblem character on testing.
At least she's not 3 houses. She's from Awakening, so it's different.
Yeah.
It'd be like having a Persona 4 character instead of a Persona 5 character.
To give you some context, because I'm going to guess Lucina's debut on testing predates the majority of listeners at this point. Let's look to see, when exactly did she debut on testing? What is the date? I'm pretty sure I could give you the month.
I think she was before Emmy was put on testing.
I'm pretty sure you're right. You're right. Lucina came on testing March 30th, 2019.
Oh my!
So she's been on low heat, on the back burner, to put it mildly.
These things they take time.
When did Emmy come on to testing? Emmy came on to testing May 24th, 2019.
So it was before Emmy.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Where the time goes.
The reason we're talking about her now is that, if I may, was very gracious in adopting everyone's abandoned characters as he does, and decided, hey, I'm going to make Lucina good.
How many has he picked up now?
I don't know, a lot.
10 million.
I'm going to make her look good and sound good and actually get her off of testing. And she seems to be well on her way.
Based, if I may.
Did he put her up for sponsorship? I think he did.
Yes, he is. She is
on
sponsorship.
Yeah, I sponsored her. Yeah. He's almost done sponsoring her. I think she's in QA right now, so she'll probably be on main roster in a few days.
I mean, I personally think she looks way better. She kind of used to look like a rectangle.
Yeah.
She also used to sit on a smash crate.
I didn't even know that. That's
the girl. Funny. The girl didn't have any tits. You could at least give her a waist. But yeah, she has received quite the glow up, and she might actually finally make it off of testing this time. Miracle. And that'll be a sad day, because it was just comforting to always see her there. No matter what happened.
It feels like history when she comes off testing. That's going to be a really strange day, and if I may, should be really proud for making it happen.
No matter how many people died from the virus, no matter who was president, no matter how many ships got lodged in the Suez Canal, I knew that Lucina was still on testing. And she would be there the day when I woke up tomorrow.
If no one else...
Well, you would be really satisfied to know. When If I May was working on that model update, she was coming up on the deadline, and he put in like a 50-hour day to make sure she didn't fall off testing. And then he went to sleep for like a week. And I don't blame him.
You know, she could just fall off and you could update her and she'll come right back on, right?
But then I would have broken the streak and that wouldn't have been fun.
It's about commitment.
You can't let a character fall off when they've been on testing for 2 years. That's just illegal. You can't.
That's true. She does have the Iron Man streak of how she's never fallen off. From that point, she went in like 2 years of getting like one-line updates every month.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, here she is, about to finally cross the finish line after all the other racers have gone home and had children and died.
Please let him win speed, please.
Have you ever? This is a long shot. Have you ever seen that Simon Pegg movie, Run Fat Boy Run?
Nope.
I actually have.
it's like a comedy. He runs a marathon and like he like sprains his ankle right at the start, and he spends like the ending of the movie just trying to finish the marathon like on a sprained ankle.
Oh, geez.
So he finishes like
idea.
10 hours after everyone else collapses at the finish line. That's what I picture for Lucina. Everyone else has gone home. She finally made
I've run a couple. It's not. I the second time I ran a marathon, I didn't train for it at all, and it was the stupidest thing I ever did because I died like halfway through it.
You run a marathon?
Yeah, I've run 2.
Well, look at Hotshot over here.
No, the second time is not anything to be proud of. I basically walked this last half of it because I was so dead. My legs just quit working at the halfway part. Would not recommend. If you're going to run a marathon, don't be stupid like me. Actually train for it. I thought a year of fighting fire would have been enough, but hiking does not translate to running as much as I thought it would.
But yeah, I guess I should start on her.
Yeah, what do you think about Lucina?
Yeah. Would you like to say anything about Lucina?
Well, first off, I just want to start with the model being insane. The amount of detail in every single stage of her posing, just art-wise, is really high. I personally talk with If I May a lot because we have a lot of same interests and like same hobbies and stuff, and we just get along really well. And I was talking with him when they were in the part with the eye. It's such a shame with how much work they've put into that eye that it's so small and it's not something you look at every time. Like when you look close, it catches your eye. You're like, wow, that looks really good. But you're not going to play your porn game to look at the eyes and go, that's some good work right there. Yeah.
I think it's done a lot better in the new model than in the old one.
Oh, agreed.
The old one, it was kind of hard to look her in the eye.
Yeah. The best way I can describe why I like Lucina so much is she feels like mommy material without being mommy, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
She's got that very endearing feel to her, and also this note was written when I played her for the last episode, but it just says, "Stoic fit girl, please train me." I don't know what was going through my mind there. I think my Unga Bunga brain came out a bit there, but overall, the dialogue is much better than it used to be. It's so nice to see a character that I've loved for a while get the update she deserves and really come to fruition, both dialogue and art-wise. I normally would try and shoehorn a complaint in there, but I can't think of any off the top of my head. Maybe the one that everyone has mentioned, and If I May has been working on fixing, which is the she can feel a bit too straightforward at times, but that's just a problem of character converting to SPNatI. But yeah, so I don't got a lot to say other than gushing over how much I like the character, really.
Yeah, Lucina's great. And the crazy thing is they're not even done with her art. She has 6 different artists, by the way. Just let that sink in. 6 people have worked on her art. That's how much love and care has gone into her. And it really shows. I just sent a picture in here. Like, they're currently working on getting the lines on her, like, Gambison, like, armor thing. I'm not really sure what to call it.
Those poor souls.
But it's looking good.
I would just call it a bodysuit.
It's looking good. Look how much. They just deserve so much credit for how much work they're putting in.
Oh, it looks great, but I feel bad for them because even just doing the lines in Twisted Fate's pants gave me like crippling anxiety.
Oh, yeah, it's not going to be easy, but it's going to be so worth it because it looks really good. Her dialogue is great. I don't know who Lucina is. I haven't played a Fire Emblem, but I got a sense of who this character was when I played with her. I had plenty of complaints when I sponsored her, and If I May has just addressed all of them. He's knocked it out of the park. So Lucina's great. Go play her. I mean, you're making part of history. I mean, who knows? She might be on main roster by the time this episode airs. But if not, go play her while she's still on testing. You don't have long. I can't believe I'm saying that. But
it's a very important moment in the SPNatI community.
It is.
It's like seeing your child graduate.
And it's so satisfying to not only see her leave testing after so long, but to leave testing and be so good, you know? Because I don't want to say that she was terrible or anything, but, you know, like, she had some rough spots. And
she didn't spend 2 years on testing with no improvement.
Yeah.
And just kind of like farted onto the main roster at the end. Here she is.
That would have been brutal. But that's not what happened, and I'm so happy about that. And it's cool. She's a character that I know. Like I knew who she was, even though I've never sniffed a Fire Emblem game. She's like a big character that everyone knows. Maybe because of Smash, I don't know, but she's cool. I like her. Good player.
I already said that she's much cuter now, which is true. I don't really feel the need to add to that. I will say though, like her writing is, I want to say, more appealing than it was before. I mean, even in that one pose I posted of the old one, well, I guess she is smiling, but she seems like kind of nervous still.
Mm-hmm. She's very eloquent.
She reminds me now of like kind of OG Maya before I smooth things over a little bit. Like she starts off very stoic, very concerned about the game, and gradually, well, maybe not as gradually as I'd like, but by the end, when she doesn't have many layers left and she's kind of nude and chummy with everyone, she like smiles a lot more and she's happy. And I like that. It kind of warms you up to the character a little bit. She's more personable, and she's exactly like appealing and like approachable and more friendly, exactly when you want her to be.
Mm-hmm.
When you feel like you've gotten to know her a little bit better, and she does talk about herself a little bit. And in kind of realistic ways that make sense for the setting. Like she was just talking about how she wasn't used to like a bar, like the inventory being like all lively, because she's from like a bad future where everyone's dead, and just the idea of people like socializing and being happy is kind of new to her.
Yeah,
but that's like good, and she liked it, and she got friendlier. It did seem a little abrupt, and then like just as soon as her I don't want to say her tits because she doesn't really have any, but her chest was out. she's like immediately started smiling more. Maybe I just didn't notice the transition, so it could be a little smoother. But I'm glad that she has it.
Maybe her flat chest was drawing your attention.
I'm glad that she has that transition. I'm glad that she gets a lot friendlier and smiles more.
She definitely has a transition, and it's cool how you can see it gives depth to her personality because you can tell that she's getting more comfortable. Even when she has that mask on, she's very stoic, and then suddenly she takes it off, and then she's just eloquent and just has interesting things to say. Like you said, with like the whole like being at a bar and it's lively and she's into it. Like it's cool how much thought went into what she says. Like it doesn't feel like many lines are wasted with her.
Well, at first she was like, I don't. She said she wasn't used to a bar being like that. Not that she liked it, but she kind of got into it. Mm-hmm. I mean, you know me. I like the stoic girls that kind of warm up a little bit.
Really?
Yes.
Never would have guessed.
Yes. So I'm glad that she's filling more of that niche. I mean, if we're gonna have Fire Emblem characters, I'd prefer it to be an archetype that I enjoy. Well, Corky, I don't think you're going to need that many notes for our next character, because it happens to be a little girl that you worked on and have been advertising to us every goddamn podcast.
Yeah,
it's nice for it to finally come to fruition. We have the dabbing princess herself.
Yeah, you know it.
Wait, she has a dab?
Charlie Main.
Yeah, it only happens if she wins without losing.
All right, no joke. One of my things I was going to bring up was when I was playing my test game with her, I saw her do her singing pose out of the corner of my eye, and I'm like, I thought she was honest to God dabbing for a second. But she actually dabs.
Oh. Yeah, you bet.
Oh my god.
Okay, Corky, this is the very last time on this podcast that you get to give this introductory spiel about who Charlie is. So why don't you go ahead and do that now that she's officially fucking on testing, finally.
The pressure is on. Charlie from Hazbin Hotel.
I mean, you needed 2 shots at it last time, so.
Sure. I was in a funk last time. Anyway, Charlie Hazbin Hotel. She is the Disney princess if they were born in hell. So take the Disney princess, layer a little bit of deviance and imperfection, but she still has all the heart and charm and the sweetness and the kindness and the happiness. Isn't she precious?
Also, she's a lesbian.
So her goal, she's bi, and she has a girlfriend.
I mean, she doesn't have any balls, so I guess she is bi.
Oh no! You've broken Corky a little bit there.
So go watch Hazbin Hotel. There's only one episode so far. It's a half an hour, and it's some of the most beautifully and cool animated, designed, voiced everything that you will see. It's on YouTube. It's free.
I'm going to post by. Don't look in the chat for the next half an hour.
Oh, fuck. No! Why would you do this? Anyway, so in Hell, basically, she is the daughter of Lucifer, so she's like the big princess. She's daughter of the big shot. But, like, you wouldn't know it. She's not treated like a big shot because it's Hell. Like, they don't give a shit. It's mostly anarchical. And so she's kind of like, picture, like, the princess that, like, really wants to do good, but people don't really take her seriously. She's kind of that figurehead that nobody respects. And Hell is constantly getting new sinners because people suck. And there's not enough room, so they just basically call all the demons every year. They kind of have, like, a purge day. And she's a sweet princess. She doesn't want her people to die. So her goal is to start a hotel because hotels are places that people stop by temporarily. So the idea is you go to the hotel, she teaches you how to be a good person. And her hope is that if she makes somebody really good and she redeems them, then they will ascend to heaven and then they won't have to be called. So that's her goal. And in SPNatI, she comes to the game.
Bear in mind, she's written based off like 1.5 hour pilot.
Yeah. So, you know, like, we got to fudge some things here and there. We got to make some stuff up. Hopefully it doesn't be, hopefully it isn't all, contradicted by future episodes, because it has been picked up. It's just currently being developed. It's eventually going to be on something like Netflix, I assume. It was picked up by the same studio that made Moonlight, that Academy Award winning movie about the gay guy. Anyway.
What?
You've never seen Moonlight? Yeah.
Oh.
The movie.
I haven't seen it. I know that it's about a gay guy.
But you know what it is, yeah. So it's a studio that, like, knows their shit. I missed
what you were saying.
That's the studio that picked up the show. Basically, the goal with her is to, like, she's at the game because she is just there to have fun. She's not, like, trying to soapbox, but she does a little bit because she's really passionate about her mission. So that's kind of the goal with her. I don't want to talk too much. I'd rather hear what you guys had to say.
So Charlie, my first thing, that's probably the first thing anyone thinks of when they see Charlie is while you said earlier it's not 100% source accurate, it's still insanely close to what Hazbin Hotel has for its art style, which, again, as someone who's been working a lot in Kisuke right now, why do you torture yourself?
Because I like it. It's fun.
Masochist, got it.
You got to treat it like carving a piece of wood. Carving a piece of wood takes a really long time. You just got to chip at it little by little.
But the posing's very fun, very enjoyable to see. And this kind of relates to how you said the 30-minute, like, it's all, there's only 30 minutes to work on. The personality kind of felt one-sided, if that makes sense. I remember from the Hazbin Hotel pilot, there was quite a bit to her back and forth between the super bright, super bubbly, and then she also had her very somber moments, which, of course, you don't want depressing moments in SPNatI.
Yeah.
But I felt there was just more of the super over-the-top bubbly than she had in the pilot. That could just be me, too. And that could have been RNG with the lines as well.
No, we definitely focused on that more than the somber stuff. My worry was that, like, we used to have more somber stuff. She has a pose for it. But I just didn't want her to be too depressing. I didn't want her to bring the mood down.
That makes sense. It's just, the only thing I'd say is bring a bit more realism to her. Not in a bad way, just like a bit more than constant bubble bright.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, the only other thing I'd say is just, as any testing character could always have, and any main character could always have, just needs more dialogue, really. I've got quite a few repeats when I played with her.
Yeah, we put her on with a very low amount of dialogue because I was kind of leaning really heavily in. Me and Spaceman both were leaning heavily on, like, a specific direction. We wanted to make sure the direction was working before we really committed to it. And there's some changes that we want to make. Like you said, she is a little bit one-sided. So one thing we're going to focus on doing better is, like, kind of picking up more on that uncertain, awkward, nervous side of her. And that might kind of touch a little bit on the somber side without it being depressing.
A good way to put it was one thing we were discussing when back when I was actually much more active in making Lux during the Masquerade. One thing we've tried to do is, the best way to put it is a foot and mouth type character where they can oftentimes ramble on a bit more than they intended to and say something they didn't mean to. Like Lux can accidentally sometimes be insensitive without realizing it. That's one way you could take it to show the other side of her without being depresso, taking the mood down to the whole table type stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my main stuff. Like the source accuracy is pretty good while still making it look good in the game. I remember seeing the older model and like the hair now is much better.
I can show you a comparison in a second. So the model, I didn't actually start from scratch with this model. I started with a model that Underscore made like a year, maybe 2 years ago. And I remember when he posted it, I was like, whoa, that girl looks like a Nightmare Before Christmas kind of that's really cool. Look at those weird proportions. Like I didn't know that was possible in Kisuke. And then I just kind of moved on.
Also, how old is the Has-Been Hotel pilot?
It's at least a year now.
Yeah.
I can look real quick. Has-Been Hotel pilot was released on October 28th, 2019. So
it's ancient history.
it's about to hit its 2 year.
It was before the plague times.
Yeah. Much more before, actually. Yeah, because I was still in high school when that happened.
What?
Yeah, so we made that model, and it was really cool. And I kind of moved on for a little bit, and then this dude named Spaceman came around.
I thought you were like in your mid-20s.
That catches so many people off guard every time. Well, how old did you think you said did you say you think I was?
Like mid-20s.
No, I'm 20, exactly.
Huh. You're not even old enough to drink.
Sadly. Don't stop.
Pretty soon you'll want.
We all know you're a perfect law-abiding citizen. You've never had a drink in your life because you would never break the law.
Yeah, who would break the law?
Yeah, so then Spaceman came around. Spaceman had his own model. Let me see if I can find it while we're talking about it.
But if you did break the law, would that be a sin?
What?
It's interesting that you say that because you might think, oh, strip poker is sinful. Well, like Charlie is not like a Bible thumper. So she's not going to think like, oh, every swear word is a sin. Oh, you can't show your boob. That's a sin. Like she kind of takes the angle that as long as you're not hurting anybody, you're not hurting yourself, you're not making things worse on other people, like you're good. You know, just be a good person, care about other people, be happy. That's the goal. So yeah, Spaceman came around showing interest in this character, and I was like, hey, like I started giving him feedback, and before I knew it, I was just starting to make the model myself, and I was like, I should watch this show. I watched it, fell in love with it. The rest is history.
Do you find yourself as someone who also believes in the good of people and tries to redeem them?
Yeah, like the philosophy that Charlie has, and I very much have this too, is that you got to believe that there's greatness in everybody. You can't do a mission like Charlie if you don't believe that. And I really do think there's greatness in everybody. It's harder to get it out of some people than others, but it's always in there, you know, and you just got to have the right push to get it out.
Well, then I guess it's time for me to hitch up my belt and put on my criticism dildo.
Oh.
Just oil it up. I recently played a game with her. I did quite like her. I'm just going to be negative because I feel like that's kind of my role at this point is to
I try to be, but I sometimes struggle to find the negative.
That's sort of the role I fill here is being a little more critical and laconic. But well, let's divide this into art and writing here. Art is obviously very unique, instantly stands out from all the other characters, and her facial expressions are done quite well. What the fuck did you just post?
It's Spaceman's model.
Oh. Oh, I thought he just started with underscores and worked from there.
No. He started making his own, and then I said, hey, Underscore made one. And then I showed it to him, and then I started just improving it, and then I just kept improving it and kept improving it.
Well, now I feel bad. Now this feels like I found like deviant art versions of like Maya and Jura and like another Evangelion girl, and they were very defaulty. Which it's nice to know that I happen to have made the best Maya and Jura Kisuke models of all time.
Yeah.
Take that for what it's worth.
I'm surprised there's more than one.
It's a crowded field. There's more than one.
Yeah, I was about to say I'm surprised there were others to compete with, to be fair.
Oh, fuck off.
Well, there is a new Maya model. Was it Hugh that made it, or was it Hologic?
It was a logic. I guess I don't have the best one anymore. I have the best one from the neck down. I'm totally just gonna steal that whenever they're finished. But since I'm doing other things, but as I really like Charlie's art. I feel like I imagine that almost everything you see here, especially with her face, is just custom.
Oh yeah, the mouth is custom, the nose is custom, the eyes are custom, the eyebrows are custom, everything is custom.
I don't want to say she feels limited by that because the poses themselves are very good. I feel like she's limited in the sense that you probably didn't want to put that much effort into making as many poses as I guess other characters might have.
Oh, absolutely not. I've been making a crap ton.
Yeah, like I kind of felt the lack of variety sometimes.
Mm-hmm. There's more coming.
It's kind of like what I was saying before, where sometimes it felt like she didn't really have a pose for the thought that she was expressing.
Oh, you're absolutely right. That happens all the time. And there's the one pose that you pointed out, and I totally agree with you. It looks really angry, and maybe she shouldn't get this angry during a strip poker game. I'll post it.
Yeah, I was looking for it anyway, but there's stuff like that where you need degrees of anger. There was that one. There were some other ones where like you can see there, like that's like she's really fucking annoyed.
Yeah.
You don't use that for somewhere like she's just kind of annoyed.
Uh-huh.
It doesn't work. You need degrees of anger and of happiness and of excitement.
Well, we don't have a kind of annoyed pose yet, so we have to use this one while we got it.
Oh God! Now there was another one I wanted to point out.
Was it the bra?
It was the bra. This one, like that's also like really annoyed. Which I guess with a cartoon character like this, she kind of tends toward like extreme emotions.
Yeah,
makes sense. You know, she's not going to be as muted visually as like an anime character, but you know, you have to have degrees of that.
No, you're totally right. If you look closely with these two poses, you can tell that these eyes are actually custom because I made them before her eyes were custom, and I just never updated them. But
there was also this pose she used a lot, like confused, where it looks like she's confused about someone else, but she was using it when she was just like thinking to herself.
Mm-hmm.
And it just doesn't work. Like she should be looking down, or her eyes should be closed, or something like that. So this is just little things. It's just little things.
She'll have one like this eventually.
Yeah, that's good. That works. Make sure you get all this in, Solitaire. Every single thing we posted in the chat, including that bi masturbation post.
Please, no.
Oh no!
They have to know what you're reacting to in the playback. The people need to know. There's stuff like that. The only other thing, like writing wise, you know, you really get the sense of like she's very happy, she's very positive. She wants everything to go well. She seemed a little judgmental from screenshots I saw, but I didn't see it in my game, so I guess you fixed that. Or I guess you're working on it.
Oh no, we haven't fixed it yet. That is an issue that we're working on though.
Yeah, it doesn't really make sense for her to be like judgy at all about like people doing certain things.
Mm-mm.
Since she works with sinners. You know, she's like she's like the most extreme form of a social worker. She should be like accepting of everyone. I'm excited to like write targets with her and kind of feel her out a little bit more, because Vandra doesn't get into a religion a whole lot, but I don't see Maya and Jura as people that would really believe or have any knowledge of Christian hell. They do celebrate Christmas, but I mean it's just Christmas, you know. Future Christmas.
I'm trying to be careful with it because it's never confirmed outwardly that it's Christian hell. I mean, I know it's based on Lucifer and everything, but they don't really refer to Jesus or God or anything like that. It's very loose. So it's not very religious.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to keep it that way, it's fine. I understand.
I definitely do.
You're kind of writing on pins and needles here because if when the show ever gets picked up, everything you write could just be wrong if you go in any direction.
Well, either way, I don't want to touch on religion that much because it's just kind of a hot, like, not a hot, but what's the word?
Hot button issue.
Yeah.
But I think she does feel a little bit limited by how you've only had the pilot to work with. because sometimes I just get the sense of like, what is she doing there?
Mm-hmm.
What does she think is sinful? Does she think they're sinners? Did she just want to visit the living world to, like, because she wants to see people, or does she want to flirt with people? Do demons want to fuck humans?
Those are all good questions.
Can she technically be called a human in some sense? Like,
No, she's a born demon.
they're completely different.
Because there are demons in hell that were people who had died and went to hell and now they're demons. And then there are natural born demons like Charlie who were born there and they were never human.
They established this.
Yeah. So her girlfriend was a human who had died. She's Salvadorian. And I think she's pretty new to hell. I think she died.
I'm sorry, is there a problem with that? Is there a problem that she's Salvadorian? You really need to bring that up? What are you, racist?
No, I just think it's cool.
Anyway, go on.
You were asking in your feedback reports why Charlie's speaking Spanish. And that's why. Because Vaggie speaks a lot of Spanish.
I asked a lot of questions. Like she likes puppies, but like, why are puppies in hell?
She talks about puppies in the pilot. You should watch it.
Where did she find them?
I don't know.
Do puppies go to hell?
Apparently.
Do not all dogs go to heaven?
No.
Would she only know asshole puppies that went to hell?
It's the puppies that jump on the table and eat your food when you're not looking.
They go to hell for that?
Those are the ones that go to hell. Yeah.
But I think
it's gluttony.
I think she felt limited, especially like in the masturbation stuff.
Oh yeah.
It's like, you know, if you're not gonna go the whole, ooh, this is sinful, and I'm gonna have to redeem you, because I guess it's kind of vague what she really considers a sin. I feel like if you pick a demon character, you would kind of expect that sort of talk, but she doesn't really do that. She does a little bit.
Yeah, it's really tough. I've had a lot of trouble with how to tackle that issue, because I want her to be serious about her mission. I don't want to like contradict it by her being, "Oh, we're sitting now."
But
like,
if she doesn't consider them sinners, I don't know, what is she doing there?
Well, that's true. That's a good point. So it's a really delicate balance you got to hit. It's difficult. We're trying.
I feel like before you try to answer any of these questions, or you just have to be like, why is she there? I feel like you really need a strong answer for that. Does she just want to see fat human cock to make her dad mad?
Well, it would be a lot easier.
I understand that you don't want to deviate from canon, but there basically isn't any.
Well,
you wrote your own death warrant
because I don't want to make her too horny because she has a relationship, but I also don't want to like focus on the relationship too much. There's a lot of.
She's just looking for a human to sandwich between her and Vaggie to spice things up.
Ooh, yeah. We'll find out. We're still working on that. We'll get on it.
Things get really sweaty in hell.
They sure do. Right now, I'm thinking basically like she's going there because she wants to meet and learn new people. Because if you think of it this way, like she's trying to redeem people in hell, and it's a lot easier to get people's trust to redeem them if you can understand them. So if she goes to the living world, maybe she can understand people better. Now, I don't explain any of this in game because it's still kind of a work in progress, but we'll get there.
Yeah, I mean, I do think she needs some kind of sexual angle. I'm not sure what it should be. All right. Those are basically my nitpicks on Charlie. Despite all those things, I mean, I believe you're fully capable of fixing them as soon as you pick a direction to go. So I'm not. And
I appreciate the nitpicks. It's really helpful, and for people listening, like I don't care how much you like have played SPNatI or how confident you are in your writing or art. Please nitpick the hell out of it, because the more feedback I get, the easier it is for me and Spaceman to make her better. So. Oh,
absolutely. Like, don't be afraid to nitpick. Fucking nitpicks are how we got fucking Michelangelo's David. If he didn't nitpick that shit, it would have just been like a stick figure.
Mm-hmm.
He just would have like chipped it into like kind of the shape of a guy, and it's like, it's good enough. Let's call it David.
And
I'm not going to nitpick.
And even again, like you don't have to be an expert artist or writer. Like if you play her and you feel a certain way, let me know. You know. It doesn't have to. Not every opinion has to be informed. It's like a big thing with this game is you're making these characters for a general audience. Not everybody who plays SPNatI is a developer. Most people who play SPNatI are not developers. So I'd love to hear from people who don't have development knowledge to just hear their impressions and what they think, because that's kind of who I'm writing this character for. You know.
All right. Well, we have pretty much reached the 2-hour mark, so we have to make an executive decision here, mostly for Buddytibo since it's later for him. We have 3 testing characters left. Do you just want to power through and finish up the testing roster?
I'm fine with that. I'm not tired.
Okay, Corky?
Okay, let's do it, but let's be a little quick because I don't want to be doing this too long.
Well, I don't want to just, not give him proper feedback.
Well, who do we got? We got Sucrose, Yuna, Magma Grunt. Yeah, we can do those 3. Let's do it.
Do you feel as if you can express your thoughts on them relatively quickly and succinctly?
Yeah, I can.
Oh, yeah.
I can refrain from rambling.
Okay. Solitaire, please cut out that bit of meta talks. So it doesn't look like we're just doing this on the fly. Please give this podcast some semblance of professionalism. Well, Charlie is a sweetheart, and you can't have sweets without sucrose.
Smooth.
So SPNatI has decided to go where the money lies and get in cahoots with the Chinese Communist Party by featuring a character from Genshin Impact, who will probably not be the last. We have Sucrose, the harmless sweetie.
She loves paying her taxes.
She is a bioalchemist who you might as well just call her a chemist for all, real world understanding purposes. She seems to be like a combination of does she have any religious connotations? She's almost dressed like she's some kind of priestess.
I don't think she does.
From what I've played, I don't believe so.
I mean, I've played with her too, and I don't think so. She just kind of looks like that to me.
Oh, no, I mean actual playing Genshin.
I mean, this is like...
Because I sadly played the game.
I guess alchemy was a little bit closer to the church than just straight up chemistry is. That's kind of her thing. I don't know a whole lot about the world of Genshin Impact other than that.
See, this thing about alchemy is there are a bunch of these people called homunculuses, and they're all based off of a sin. And Sucrose is the king of them.
Alchemy was just chemistry, but it was just like dudes in their basements trying to just make shit up. But I think this will make gold if I just mix it together.
If I put mud in piss, maybe I'll get gold.
I'm not doing any math on the subject. And they didn't share their findings with each other, and it's not like, okay, now I have to talk to Solly. It's like, cut this out. Just cut this out.
I mean, there's actually a decent bit you can cut out that'll knock it down.
Well, and if it takes him a month to edit it, that's fine. He can take his time. He's not getting paid.
I do not have the money to pay him. I guess we can keep going. So
yeah.
I don't want to get so close and then not have enough material for next time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to assume that Namasp did this character. This is Namasp's work, by the way. I mean, the model was a horse killer because Namasp was too rich to do art anymore. But Namasp does a biomedical stuff. I don't know if he wants me saying that, but he does. So I imagine this was just a match made in heaven for him to just geek out over chemistry and shit. So, Buddytibo, I'm sick of the Tim Tebow joke. Why don't you lead us in? Talk to us about Sucrose.
Yeah. So as I said earlier, I play the game. She's actually one of the characters I used when I did play the game. I've fallen out of it. So I was very happy to see we got Sucrose. And I know we've got a lot of Genshin models ready to be used. So out of the ones I saw that were options, I'm very glad that Sucrose got picked. The best way I can describe how I feel about the art is the clothes. As someone who's worked with Kisuke, the clothes make me cry and the hair makes me want to die, really. Because that looks insane. The clothing, the amount of detail work, and the amount of just everything that went into that model is just insane. And if I remember correctly, it was done in under a week. Like,
Horse Killer just cranks these out.
Horse Killer's insane.
agreed.
He made a deal with the devil.
It must have really, like, it's the amount
That's got to be a sin, right? He's going to Charlie's Has-Been Hotel for that.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Oh, absolutely. He's going to have to get redeemed by Best Girl.
Also, another thing that makes me, like, absolutely, like, go weak in the knees over this character art-wise is, I believe, like, stage 5. Yeah, here's a picture of stage 5. Like, this right here just made me go unga bunga yes, brain.
Yeah.
When it comes to the dialogue, I've enjoyed what I've seen. It's been a very much, there's a lot of really good innuendos in there. A bit more on like the Fluttershy and all that with the shyness, but not too much. Her shy's in a different matter, though, of more of the nerd, like the rambling over herself, the just very stumbling over her own thoughts. And on top of that, there's a lot of like nerd tangents that I really like, as you mentioned earlier. There's a lot of like tangents of nerd knowledge and stuff. And some things I've sat there, I'm like, I understand that knowledge. Like, that knowledge is already in my brain. That's cool that someone else thought of that. Stuff like that. So it's a very much best of both worlds. On the horny brain goes yes, and my nerd brain goes yes. So that's like an instant win in my books. So I wouldn't doubt that she's going to be, at the little bit of times I do finally actually play the game, she's going to be a constant person at the tables, especially when she gets main roster.
Yeah, I think she's really special for sure. Horse Killer just did an amazing job, as he usually does. You know, that's nothing new. But, you know, like, there's this thing that we do with talented artists all the time where we're like, oh, it's nothing new. This is what we expect. But, like, sometimes you just got to, like, remind yourself, like, whoa, this guy's super talented and he deserves credit for it. So, and he does.
It's really detailed.
It's so good. It's just, and you know what? It's the interesting thing about it is, like, as detailed as it is, there's a lot of really smart and efficient ribbon use. For example, like the detailing on the bottom of her skirt is actually just 3 blue ribbons just next to each other, but he just positioned them in the right way to where you can't really tell. It just looks like a frill. And like, that's the thing, like that like is like something I'm trying to do more of instead of spending an hour or like 5 hours on making frills. Like he just figured out a way to do it quickly and efficiently. And finding ways to do that, to take shortcuts where it still looks good, it helps you be more efficient and healthy with your development. It helps you stay happier when you're making characters. It's just a good thing to do. And I haven't seen a whole lot of people talk about that. They're just like, oh, she's really good. And like, there's more to it if you keep looking at it. You know, you can kind of see like Horse Killer really knows what he's doing. Like you can see the experience and how he's putting these hair pieces together, where when you look really closely, it's like, oh, I know what that hair piece is. Like he didn't spend like 10 hours on making it. He just figured out a way to make simple hair pieces look really good. And that's not easy to do. So props to him that he made it work. Writing wise, I really like what I've seen so far. I want to play her more because she's one of those characters, and this is pretty much the best compliment I can give, but like, especially for a game like this, like she's one of those characters where like I have a poo brain, I get easily distracted. So I have to play characters like this like multiple times to really get the full experience. But what I've noticed so far is just like she just has like a really fun voice to read. Like, and that's from clever use of smaller text, of like it gives her different volumes when she's speaking, which I think it really pays off because it gets her personality across a lot more clearly than you could with just regular language. So it's really cool to see. Again, I want to keep playing with her and like find more about her. Like she's one of those characters where you know, like you can just keep playing with new characters and finding new nuggets of who she is. And that's always exciting. It's like the game at its best.
I feel like, you know, there are certain characters that kind of represent aspects of the game. Like Amy represents like a really gimmicky strip sequence. And like Fina has like a lot of like marker memory. I feel like Sucrose really clearly represents like making text small.
Yeah.
Every other line is her like muttering away to herself. She's kind of trailing off because she's nervous.
Yeah.
She's another really good example of nervous and shy, but she still likes being there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a different kind of like, she's not just socially shy. She's just like, Namas explained this, but she's just like, she very much wants everything to be like, follow the scientific method and be like really easily testable
and predictable
and repeatable. And you can't, that's not how communication works.
Yeah.
But again, she doesn't hate it. She's just out of her element.
Which is really interesting. I think that's just really fun to explore. You know, it's a cool idea.
And she's got funny lines where she like lists out like theories to herself. Theory, hypothesis. Must do further testing.
Well, one of the like things with the small text, like even as such a simple line is like the image I just posted, where she's just kind of like really quietly saying no.
Oh.
Yeah, like that. Just lining. Sometimes it lines up perfectly with like that example there.
Yeah,
like, it's just it works very well for her character.
I don't know much about Genshin Impact other than that apparently it's the gacha game version of TikTok where the Chinese government steals your data.
Yeah,
but
not wrong.
That's just what I've heard. But she's definitely really cute, and I think what I can tell she's a really good character because I'm not into the shy nerdy types who are always clamming up and don't want to say anything.
Yeah,
but I still could look at her and be like, this is appealing. This is a good character. Like I can tell someone would really like this. Even if it's not really my thing, she was still funny. I still enjoyed reading her lines, and she is pretty cute and pretty sexy with that lingerie she wears. And that's that's an endearing character quirk that she would wear something like that just because she thinks it's comfortable. And she just kind of brings a different flavor of shy.
Yeah,
agreed.
I mean, Namasp and Horse Killer are very, very grizzled veterans at this point, so it kind of makes sense that she would kind of come on to testing very fully formed already, and she... I wouldn't say there's too many big flaws. She kind of does what she's already trying to do.
There was something somebody brought up in her channel that was a really good point. I wish I remember what it was.
She has a little bit of the Charlie problem where some of her poses don't quite match what she's trying to do. You know, she could have like a more internal looking pose, like the GIF I posted there, where she was really kind of looking down and thinking to herself, or just kind of shyly turning away. She could use a line or a pose like that. But I don't have any major criticism. She's really good. She's really fun.
Right, I found it. So Metal made a point that she got like horny too quickly, in their opinion.
I guess a lot of characters do just kind of transition really quickly into being horny when they're in their masturbation stages because they don't play in any particular order.
Yeah, you don't have control over how long they spend in each stage, so they could just zip past them in 10 turns, or they might be stuck in their first stage the entire game. You never know.
Yeah.
So it's hard to control.
That's actually something I partially implemented with Maya, and I want to get back to, where she has a couple cases early on where she's like started to masturbate and she's not really into it too much yet, and she's just kind of like, what? Like, I'm trying to find a comfortable place to sit. Stop looking at me. Like, am I doing something wrong? And then she starts getting into it because I didn't like how she just like immediately jumped from 0 to 100.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's always the mark of like you're really getting a character down is when you get those smooth transitions between their moods.
Yeah.
But she's getting there. All right, so moving right along. Maybe we can maybe spend some more time on these characters next episode, but we want to get through testing here. Sorry, Solitaire, we're doing the mega episode. At least they're not 5 hours long like they used to be.
Jeez.
We have Yuna from not Final Fantasy X. That would be where my mind goes to.
This girl is so damn exciting.
This is Yuna from, I think it's Kindred Spirits on the Roof.
I believe so.
Which is basically, she's like a lesbian, and she has two lesbian ghost friends who died like 80 and 30 years ago, respectively, and they just haunt her school. She's the only one who can see them, which I'm just getting this all from the character, by the way. I haven't seen the show. I think it's an anime.
I think it's a visual novel.
Oh, is it?
I believe so.
From what I can tell, it's kind of goofy in tone. Like they're just kind of like the angel and devil on her shoulder, but they just both want her to munch carpet.
Only the most cultured ghosts.
It's just like every girl she meets, she's just like, hey, she's cute, you should fuck her. And apparently that's what she's doing here, is coming to strip poker. And they're just like, hey, you should fuck her.
Yeah.
And like her two ghosts are themselves girlfriends, and one's jealous, and it's kind of funny. I assume this is a comedic source material.
I don't know much about it. I just know I've seen it on some of my friends' PCs.
You know what? This is like really talking me into playing it though, because it's like it's just super interesting. Like I want to know more about it.
It's a visual novel about death and the roof. Like this is right up your alley.
Yes. Any respectable person knows that all good things happen on the roof.
I was about to say, that's the only thing I know from the game is I hear everyone who's played it say all the best things happen on the roof. And like,
because it's true. It's the truth.
Isn't that a Katawa shoujo joke?
Oh, you know it.
So it's not really about kindred spirits on the roof, but
no,
it's about both of them. Because they both have things happen on the roof. All the best things happened on.
All right, Buddytibo, what do you think of Yuna? Let's try to make this quick. But
yeah. So like, I'm very impressed by how sorted this character is for a triple character, basically.
Yeah, it's very clearly delineated as like who's talking.
Yeah, like the dialogue's very straightforward. You can always tell who's talking. They keep the dialogue surprisingly like doesn't go behind the characters as much as you think for like multiple people talking at once. They kept that very under control. Now like this relates to like the lack of knowledge of the actual base game. It's either super clever what they did or super convenient that this how it works in the game. The way that they'll sometimes go to like the little fire form for a little bit. Like when they're not the forefront of the dialogue, they hide in that little orb.
It's genius because it helps you like remember which one is which.
Well, not only that, it just saves so much space too.
Yeah.
Not like both space, like visual space on the screen and data space, like for your actual file sizes.
It does everything. It's a perfect solution. And it's just like tremendous respect for coming up with it because it just works so well in so many different ways.
It's either super cleverly made or super convenient that's how it worked in the game. I don't know which.
It's both, honestly.
Yeah. Dialogue repeated a lot, but they did just hit testing like last week, I think. Not even. So that's to be expected.
They've only got 450 lines, so it's going to happen. Like they're going to get repeats.
At the time of recording.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, as of tonight, they only have 450 lines. So
okay, yeah. So
that's going to happen.
Yeah, that'll be fixed.
It's going to be woefully out of date.
Yeah.
And based on what you just said, this probably is like not even needed.
Happy August.
This probably doesn't even need to be said because it'll probably be fixed by the time this comes out. But the lines where she talks about like other characters from the game, like one of the ghosts would be like, "Oh, what happened to?" I think one of the ones was like, "What happened to the broadcasting trio?" or something like that. And they said that like 5 times, and I'm like, do they really need to know that the same thing about the broadcasting trio 3 times, like 5 times?
Yeah, that's something that could probably use a play once.
Yeah, so there's a few of those lines where like one of the ghosts will ask, "What about these people that used to go to school?" And they'll give like a little bit of exposition on what happened to them, but they aren't play onces. None of them are play onces, I don't think. So that's a definite need to be fixed.
That also just seemed like an idea that'd be better applied to them gossiping about the other characters on the table.
That could work, yeah.
Well, that would be so much fun. I hope they do that.
Even if the other characters could hear them, that just kind of makes it funnier.
Yeah. There's so much you can do with it. It's like easy, like any character who targets that is going to have success just because it's just such a fun thing that's just so easy to write and fun.
Quick question. Do any of you know if it's clear if other players can see the two or not?
I don't know. I know somebody asked that, and I don't know if we got an answer yet. I think they should. Because it just gives you more to talk about.
That's like we talked about that last episode.
I'm just god moding that my characters can do it. I can come up with a justification for it, but it doesn't matter. I just feel like if the player can see it, then others should be able to.
Yeah.
That makes a crossover more fun if we can see it.
And think of this, you could have characters like, one of my favorite interactions in this game is when Revy gets pissed at Brock because she's like, people shit on me for bringing guns in here and you're going to bring a fucking rocket launcher. And it'd be funny if like someone was like, why are 3 people all sharing a hand? Like, what? I don't care if they're ghosts. I don't know. There's a lot you could do with it. There's just so much potential.
That was kind of that heavy target to Brock was really just me being pissed as a writer that everyone pisses themselves over her guns. How about you target this asshole?
Yeah. But yeah, that's most of my statements on them. I very much am excited for how it will work, and they did a very good job for making a trio character work, let alone like.
Oh, absolutely!
I'm intimidated to ever do a duo character.
I'm so impressed by how they made it, how they pulled it off. And let's like remember these. Like, correct me if I'm wrong. These 2 are both new. Like, it's a new artist and a new writer. It's Packer and Alias. I don't think either of them have made a character before.
I think Alias is done.
Alias was on Team Lux and also Takatoshi.
Oh, okay.
He was also.
Well, either way, he's still a little bit on the newer side. And Packer Dragon, I'm so excited that he's like that. We're finally seeing stuff from him because you just knew that he was a sleeping giant. He's just a good guy.
Packer's been around for a while.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's his first character though, getting in the game.
Yeah, which is a big step.
I think like she's awesome. She's honestly a statement to come out with a character this good so early. One thing I really love about their art, you can kind of see it fits that style that the visual novel has. The visual novel is got a very sketchy, classic art style. And
very faded.
It's so cool that they replicated that in Kisake. It just kind of like, it's just one of those like things. Like I think Komi-san is another good example of this. Is when an artist.
To be fair, when you're making a Japanese schoolgirl in Kisake, the program is a lot more suited for that.
True, but you can see some like ways they drew things a little bit differently with how they shaped everything. Like especially on her hair, but you can see it on the sweater vest too. But it's one of those situations where an artist's style just fits the character personality. I know it might sound weird to say that like a drawing style can have a specific personality to it, but I really do think that like the personality to a story is really reflected through the art style. It's a really cool art style, and it's so cool that they replicated that in Kisake. And like we talked about earlier, like the way the spirals like are there to kind of remind you which side is which color, it kind of keeps their presence there, even though like you're not constantly putting 3 images. It saves time and effort and efficiency. It's just super cool. Remember when we talked about my poo brain? This is another one of those characters where it's like, I want to play with this character more so I can just absorb the experience better, because it's just like, it's so cool to just have 3 characters that can just gossip with each other. Like there's never going to be a shortage of things for her to say that are going to be fun to read. So I'm just super excited to see where she goes, because I just know that she's going to be one of the best characters in the game if they keep this pace, I think.
I like how her ghosts, Sachi-san and Megumi, have very defined personalities and kind of quirks. Sachi-san is the older one with like the Hime cut, and she has like a Yuri radar. It makes sense, girls wanting to fuck each other. And Megumi is like very attached to Sachi-san and like doesn't want people flirting with her. Mm-hmm. And I got that right away. Like that's a very good sign. You know, I very clearly learned like, okay, this is what they're about. I think the one thing I'm concerned about is that the ghosts kind of stole the show. Yuna, I didn't learn a whole lot about. Like I still don't really know what her deal is. I don't really even know how she feels about having ghosts with her. She just kind of just seems bored by it.
That's very true. I got the same impression. I wasn't really sure who the ghosts were after playing her.
And she doesn't really like seem sexually interested at all. She made a point mostly throughout the game about how like she's there to win, which why? Why are you there to win? To win what? There's nothing to win. Stop giving a fuck about winning. feel like that's the number one writing advice you could give any character is just stop caring about winning, because one, you probably won't, and two, there's nothing to win. All you win is sexual frustration. I understand that she's supposed to be like a lesbian, or her ghost just trying to convince her to be a lesbian. I don't know. Is that why she can see them? Because only lesbians can see them?
That'd be a twist. You must be this gay to see the ghost.
That's why gays have been feared and hated throughout history, because they could communicate with the dead.
Oh, jeez.
But like, I know she's supposed to be a lesbian, but like, even when girls were stripping and masturbating, she didn't really seem to care. The ghosts cared. That's why I got a strong impression from them, but I didn't really get a strong impression from Yuna. So
Yeah.
she kind of felt a little overshadowed by the two supporting characters.
Well, I mean, as long as there are characters present that are a blast to read, it might be okay if she takes more of a backward role.
I guess she's supposed to be like the straight man of the group, but I don't know. Even a straight man can be funny or interesting. I didn't learn anything about her. Just about the ghosts.
Yeah. And that's something they can develop over time.
The only other thing I have to say is like small art nitpicks that they're working on that I pointed out in their dev channel, but just like the text box arrow doesn't move. It should really point at whoever's talking, which is the ghosts a lot of the time. And just a couple weird things, but how like, one of the ghosts is talking to Yuna, but it looks like they're talking to me, or stuff like that, or like Yuna, or like it looks like Yuna's talking, but it's only the ghosts talking. Just little stuff like that, which you might as well fix it and get into the habit of that early when she's only got 450 lines.
Yeah.
Before it gets worse. At least you didn't write 5,000 lines and then have to fix it. Or 18,000.
She's in a really good spot.
Yeah, it's a strong start.
She's gonna go places. I'm telling you.
Okay. Speaking of going places, let's take mercy on Solitaire and finish up very quickly with another April Fool's character turned real character because people liked her enough. We're going all the way to the Hoenn region. Here we have Team Magma Grunt, just random grunt. Not Courtney, the admin that everyone liked when Omega Ruby came out, just a grunt. Not from dating a Team Magma Grunt, just a grunt. A Team Magma Grunt. Here she is. She's kind of dumb. She can't swim.
Fate can relate.
And she asks all of us, how could water ever be good? She wants to expand the Earth's landmass. Buddytibo, what do you think about expanding the Earth's landmass and draining the oceans?
As a writer of Twisted Fate, I know Twisted Fate would be 100% okay with that because he also cannot swim despite living on the rivers his childhood. But no, I very much enjoy how they took a basic, like from what I understand, they're just a basic enemy in Pokemon. Like, just one of the trainers you walk by and like, we made eye contact. We're fucking going at it. We're throwing hands. Like, correct?
The grunts?
Yeah.
Well, the grunts are usually at any like arbitrary location to like stall for time while the main villain does something. So you just gotta like beat a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, they're like a repeatable enemy, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so
in the game's code, they all have the name Grunt, and then the trainer class, Magma. So it's Magma Grunt.
Okay, so yeah, so from like what I'm assuming is a very basic character idea, there's a decent actual character to this with, like, as you said, the kind of dumb, kind of ditzy, seems to have gotten in over her head.
Just a delinquent that's been picked up by a gang.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Like someone who's just, oh, I came in for the small fry stuff. Oh, we're a bit farther than I was expecting. But yeah, I enjoyed the game I played with her. And obviously there was the same suffering point of what I said they made a benefit off of. There's not a lot to work off of, so it kind of can get a bit too straightforward. But I don't have a lot of input because it's a simple character from a game I've never touched.
How have you just played all the wrong Pokemon games to be on this podcast?
I played one Pokemon game, and I haven't even played it fully. So, but I personally think she's really cute. Really, the personality behind her kind of has without the blonde, the typical like stereotype blonde to it a bit, but not over the top. It kind of made me chuckle a few times, especially since when I played her, it was only her and Fate, and there are a few good like accidental interactions that got a good chuckle out of me. Also, a very easy way to get my attention, Big Booba. Which I didn't actually notice with the hoodie. I thought the hoodie kind of accentuated a bit more than it actually was, and then the hoodie came off. I'm like, that sweater.
It's got literal sweater puppies.
Yeah, I saw the sweater. I'm like, you're picking up the great.
And you huffed her scent.
Yeah. I just a big
yourselves.
Got right up in there.
Like neural activation, bro. Like.
Go right up to her. A single sniff, my dear.
one quick sniff. But yeah, so like definitely got my attention. So I'm gonna keep watch on the Magma Grunt for sure. I just really curious where they're gonna take it with such a simple character to work off of. Like it almost is more difficult than making a brand new character, in my opinion, because it's like. In the game, I guess it's multiple characters in the end. So they're kind of trying to take multiple really simple characters and put it into one. So that could be difficult.
I mean, we know how trying to create a character with no distinct personality turned out last time. Solitaire, you know who I'm talking about. If you've made it this far into editing, you just go ahead and post her. An update that will live in infamy. The Extreme Exhibitionist.
Yeah. Corky, just get us off topic quick. Go. Talk about Magma, Corky.
Yes. So, the cool thing about Magma Grunt, I think, is it's taking a challenging concept, because it would have been a lot easier to just go with Courtney because she has an established personality. But they're going with Magma Grunt. The cool thing about Magma Grunt is you can lean into a totally different direction and make a project you can't make with Courtney. Like you could have a lot of fun. Like have you guys seen the classic Spider-Man comic where he asked this like brilliant scientist, you could cure cancer with this device, and he's like, I don't want to cure cancer. I want to turn people into dinosaurs.
Yeah.
I want Magma Grunt to be this for like
Corky on an old podcast. Joe expressed his love for that panel.
Yes, I love it. I think I actually expressed love with it with him, like the first time I was on this podcast.
I feel like it used to be an obscure joke, and now just everyone knows that.
Yeah,
yeah. And I would love for Magma Grunt to be this, but with expanding the Earth. Like, I don't want to win the game. I want to expand the Earth. I don't know. You could just have a lot of fun with it. It's been a hot minute since I played with her. I think the last time I played with her was like a few weeks after she got post her April Fool's thing. But I've definitely seen progress with her. With the art especially, like I think a lot of the kinks have been rolled out from her art. I think a little bit more could be done with her face. Like I know she's a grunt, so she's supposed to be kind of, she's a grunt. But like there are a couple poses where her eyes just look a little bit on the ugly side. Like they could just be tweaked a little bit and just polished up.
Oh wow, I still have old April Fool's version here. I didn't know she got a glow up.
Yeah.
She has her phone for some reason. That's kind of weird. I guess that's an easy way to.
It is a little bit strange, but it gives you more to do. So I think it's good. I think it's a good idea.
I guess that's like it's just her. It's a quick way to establish that she's just like a dumb basic bitch on her phone.
Yeah, exactly. It works. I like it.
I mean, I like the idea that she's just like a dumb delinquent and she's just joined this team because it's given her purpose in her life and like friends.
It's just one of those things you don't have to. Not every character has to be extremely deep. Like some characters are just fun and simple, so just run with it and just have fun with it. And I think that's what they're doing.
Not every character has to be sharp.
Shrek.
Sharp.
Oh.
Not every character has to be Shrek.
Agreed.
It's funny. I'm talking about this pose. I think it actually is already being improved a little bit. Because I remember it looking worse than this. This looks better. So maybe they've already fixed the problem before like I even noticed. But
is that called tired of your shit?
Yeah. She's a grunt.
Is it actually called Side of You?
No, it's called.
I was about to say that's great.
It's called annoyed.
I was gonna say that's great, and also props to you for predicting it, man.
Thursdays likes to name poses, stuff like that. I always thought that was funny. Go look at a character Thursdays made and look at the pose names. They're really funny.
I don't like doing any meme stuff.
It's fun. Have fun with it.
Corky, my wife, is all about never having fun.
There'll probably be some interesting ones when I work on Misfortune.
What a great wife. A wife that doesn't like fun. Good choice.
I am also no fun, so works just fine.
Okay. Well, touche.
When have I ever participated in any group collaboration? I'm no fun.
Fun is for people who have hair.
On that note, maybe it's time to end and take mercy on
Give Sully a little bit of a break.
Take mercy on our editor Solitaire, because we went an hour longer than usual.
Thank you, Solitaire. Solitaire is our main man.
Nice 3-hour mega episode.
He's the main man of the hour.
What I'd basically say is what I've already said. I like where she's going, and I hope she continues to go there. Maybe not drain the oceans, but I'm excited to interact with her. Just stuff like Revy. Revy doesn't even know what global warming is yet, so she thinks it's just some weird Greenpeace girl talking to her about saving the whales and the ozone layer.
Yeah.
She's just fuck off as she drops her cigarette butt on the floor.
You're not going to drain her ocean.
All right. Anything final that you'd like to plug in these closing minutes?
No, I think I'm about good.
I would like to thank Mr. Solitaire for being the main man and editing this video.
Oh, of course.
I would like to thank Tibo for putting up with two weird, distracted people.
Bro, I had fun.
Oh yeah, thanks for being on, Buddytibo. Thanks for coming on for a whole 5 hours. You've been a great guest.
Yeah,
I've enjoyed every hour though.
Oh, 4.5, I guess, because Corky died. I'd like to thank you, Corky, for not dying this time.
I've been healthier. I've been watering myself more often. I think every cactus needs their water. Some people forget to water them.
Thanks everyone for listening to episode 51 and episode 51.5. And finally, I'd like to thank Taiwan for being a real country.
I just kind of emulated Persona 4.
Are you ready to learn a startling fact about me?
Never touched a Persona game?
I have never touched a Persona game.
Oh, they're a blast. They're more like visual novels than games, to be honest.
You're losing me.
Persona 5 is the most game-like because they finally figured out how to polish it and make it better and actually fun.
Seems like people love all of them.
Yeah, they do. You'll have to understand that I'm not an RPG fan, so when I tell you that I like Persona, I like it despite it being an RPG. Because I just love the story and characters.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. The only reason I ended up playing Persona 4 is because when I went to go visit some of my online friends, we went to a convention and we did the Persona 3, 4, and 5 protagonists. So I ended up playing Persona 4 so I could know more on Yuna Arakami, which was a Chad, absolute Chad. Hence my wonderful picture right now. I call Herbert Narukami. I'm excited for that. Then I didn't know you guys were actually going to settle on Rise.
Yeah, that's the plan. Things might change. I mean, it's still kind of far in the future.
Yeah.
Enjoy this deep fake of Michelangelo's David.
That's so strange.
That is terrifying.
I don't like how the eyes move because he doesn't have eyes, so it looks really weird. It's creepy.
He doesn't?
Well, they're stone eyes. They're not they don't actually look like eyeballs. So when they move around, it's creepy.
I thought he had pupils and irises.
Well, he does, but it's gray. It's not color. It just looks weird. And the different colors of the eyes are made by different depths. It's carved into it because that's how they had to do it back then.
What'd you say?
They can't rather than coloring the eye to make the pupil a different color and then make the iris a different color, they carve into it to give you those. Yeah.
I mean, pupils are just holes anyway.
Yeah, but they don't look like that. You know, that's one thing that's always bothered me about old statues. Wow, what a tangent!
You know, ancient like Greek and Roman sculptures. They used to be painted.
Yeah, I did know that.
They weren't like all gray and white. It was just from weathering.
Yeah.